Positions via WhatsApp 0543-986-996 or 020-444-7033. On Twitter, now known as X, mention me at Umar Rusanda or at City973, and the world will hear what you think. I'll be introducing my panelists in studio in a bit, but I want to go on the lines and speak to my guest who is not with us here, but who is just joining us briefly for a conversation. And that conversation has to do with an information that was released this week by the government, where government said 8.1 billion cedis has been made in payments and claims submitted by ministries, departments, and agencies, but these have been rejected based on a number of reasons, including one, fictitious debts, forged documents, duplicated invoices, and claims for goods that were not delivered. So you can call it fraudulent misrepresentation in many ways. Now, this was contained in a report presented to Parliament on behalf of the Finance Minister by his deputy, Thomas Ampem-Nyakun, who is MP for Akosua Manu. Our parliamentary correspondent, Akosua Okai, has a wrap. Let's get that wrap, and then we do the interview and then have a discussion in studio.
The Deputy Finance Minister, Thomas Nyakun Ampem, on behalf of the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasia Latufosen, presented before Parliament the Auditor General's findings on arrears and payables as at the end of the year 2024, and he disclosed that 45 out of 68 billion Ghana cedis claims submitted by contractors and suppliers has been validated for payment, while 8 billion Ghana cedis has been rejected.
Out of the 68.7 billion Ghana cedis submitted for audit, a total of 45.4 billion Ghana cedis was deemed to be valid for payment. A total of 8.1 billion Ghana cedis was rejected for various reasons, including unsupported documentation, duplication, overstatement, already paid items, falsified source receipt advice, and no work done.
He also disclosed that 10 million Ghana cedis was paid to a fictitious account under the One District, One Factory policy.
Payment of 10.5 million Ghana cedis was recorded as having been made into an account named the buffer account at a commercial bank. Upon verification, the bank confirmed that it had never received such payment. The account number cited did not exist within the bank's records.
The presentation by the Deputy Finance Minister generated reactions from lawmakers on both sides of the House.
Those who have been committing this atrocity and these infractions are the technocrats. They are sitting there, you know them. They are still there approving. Politicians are ultimately responsible. You are ultimately responsible. You are responsible for your ministry. You are responsible for your agency. If there is corruption, if there is waste, it is your responsibility to make sure that those who are engaged in that are held to account. We will set up a special committee, and that committee will look into everything that has been reported on by the Auditor General.
So that's Mahama Yariga ending our report by our correspondent in Parliament, Akosua Okai. So eyebrow raising, that revelation that has been made. Let me speak to Daniel Yaodomelevo. He was once Ghana's Auditor General, and he's joined us. He was part of the oral team as well. Sir, you're welcome to the big issue.
Thank you very much.
This was not an audit service audit like you usually would do annually, where you present to the House of Parliament, where they take it to the PAC. This appears to have been a special audit of a kind. I don't know if you understood what exactly happened and at what point audit instruments like that are deployed, and if you could share with us what the importance of this special audit was.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. And first and foremost, congratulations to the Auditor General and his team. According to Clause 2 of Article 187 of the Constitution, the Auditor General is supposed to audit the accounts of the public office, the public service, that is the central government, the district authorities, the courts, the polytechnics, the hospitals, the universities, district assemblies, etc., including Parliament, of course, and report to Parliament according to Clause 5 of the same article. That is what we normally call regularity audit. It is an annual financial audit. And of course, any irregularities found during that process is also reported to Parliament. However, Section 16 of the Audit Service Act provides that in addition to the annual audit, the Auditor General, on his own evolution, in the national interest, may also conduct what we call special audits or review. So this exercise that has just been conducted is one of the special audits or reviews that the Auditor General does. And again, the session provides that the report goes to Parliament. And Parliament, according to clause 6 of Article 187, is required to debate the report. And if they find it necessary, referring it to a committee. So what I heard Honorable Mahama Ayarga saying, he is just speaking directly to clause 6 of Article 187, which says that they can debate, which is the debate we're having, and then refer it to a committee if they find it necessary. So that is what happened. The annual audit does not have time to uncover a lot of things. And for that matter, we do special audits in addition to the annual audits. Thank you.
Okay, so what that means is that we may not see this report before PAC like it used to happen. This one, a special committee will be set up. And then to what end? Because when the Public Accounts Committee sits, the chairperson, who has the powers of the High Court, has the powers of surcharge, and I think there's also disallowance in there somewhere. If that is the case with the Public Accounts Committee, what can this special committee do? Because often Parliament sets up a bipartisan committee. Yeah, it's live on TV, we watch it, everybody is angry, then we go home and sleep. To what end? How can someone be held accountable for this work, if there should be any accountability at all?
Yes, the committee that Honorable Mama Ayarga mentioned, I don't know whether it will be a different committee or it is the same Public Accounts Committee. Whether it is a different one or it is the same Public Accounts Committee, I don't think any of these have the mandate of implementing their recommendations. The recommendations will still have to go to the executive. So the Attorney General may have to pick up those who are complicit in the fraudulent claims and maybe do the necessary investigation and prosecute them. But you see, one of the things that we are not talking about much is the fact that in the public service, the condition of service of all public servants requires that anytime you are found complicit in doing something wrong or any malpractices, the first thing we do is to suspend you or interdict you, and then you are investigated. If after the investigation it is found that you are not complicit, you are just called back to continue your job and you are paid all your salary arrears. But if you are found to be part of the process or complicit, all you do is you are dismissed. I think that administrative sanction alone will send signal to Ghanaians that it is no longer business as usual. As Parliament continue doing their debates and maybe Attorney General doing his investigation, the administrative sanction should take the lead. That is a quick and fast route to pronounce that we are not tolerating this behavior any longer. Otherwise, it will continue. If you remember, Umaru, when I was in office, I did the same exercise and nothing happened to the culprits. So they found it necessary to repeat it, and they will continue until something happens to them.
Interesting. Now let's talk about the specific details that have been captured. Which ones jumped at you the most of the revelations that came up?
None of them. They are all annoying, disgusting, and to say they are very disturbing. But it is not surprising to me, because if you looked at my report, all the reasons that I gave is the same reason that the Auditor General is giving today. And like I always say, if there are no serious consequences for misbehavior, impunity takes over and lawlessness will continue. So let's ensure that we move from there. But it is disheartening to know, to say the least, that in a country where monies are so difficult to find and government liabilities are not being able to be paid, projects are stalling, hospitals are not operating very well, our roads are not the best, people will be able to put together such a gargantuan amount and want to take that out of the consolidated fund. It is very unfortunate. This is why I'm calling on the administration or the government to say that the administrative sanctions should take the lead. We should hear, the names are there. Those who submitted the claim, their signatures are there. Who vetted the invoices which came? Who submitted them to Ministry of Finance? Their names are there. We should hear of all of them being suspended or interdicted by next week. And then a committee set up to investigate their level of involvement. If found culpable, dismissed. Then the prosecution and what is happening in Parliament also continue, so that it will bring deterrence to people who plan doing the same thing in the future. And Umaru, let's be clear about this. Let's not assume that what Auditor General has seen is the total figure, because some payments have been made, and those payments that have been made earlier may also include some of those fraudulent deals.
I see. Now, can there be a defense of mistake in this issue? Can someone say, no, it was an error, clerical error perhaps, that the evidence on the paper may not necessarily be the fact that the money has not been lost? Perhaps we are just looking at recording errors. Is that possible? Can we say it was a mistake?
That is usually the first defense that they put up. And I remember when I did that audit in 2017, one of the ministries who had a huge amount, I've forgotten how much it is, but it was more than 200 million. And we noticed that it had been paid. So we asked, why did you submit the claim again? He said, no, it is a mistake. They had forgotten that they had paid. And I thought that was the most dangerous accountant I'd ever come across in my lifetime. Because an accountant who pays more than 200 million and chooses to forget that he has paid it, to be the most dangerous person that we can encounter in life. So, well, that claim cannot help anybody. If we use a mistake as a justification from running away from crime, then I don't know who can be held culpable for any crime in the country. So that should not stop the way for going. You must prove beyond doubt that you did your possible best. That is why you are being paid. That is why you are called financial controller. That is why you are called director of finance or internal auditor or director of procurement or chief director. You are not there just to be a rubber stamp. You are there to ensure that things which pass through your table or under your signature, they are genuine and they are a due liabilities on the government.
Typically, corruption is sexier when it involves a politician. This one, there's a likelihood that civil servants may be the only ones in there. That will not be sexy enough for the politicians to jump at. So the people who may be fingered may not necessarily be political actors. Do you think that means anything at all, or it's still wrong?
Well, let me say that I don't know who exactly is involved. For all you know, the contractor who submitted the claim may be a politician. I'm just speculating. I don't have it as a fact.
Yes.
If that is the case, then he's equally fraudulent. But then, I've always insisted that without the connivance of the public servant, there's very little that a politician can steal from the public funds.
Okay. So that's where the bigger problem is.
Yes, because the control mechanisms are said that you alone cannot just go and sign government check and say, take money, and it will happen. You need somebody to countersign, and that person will definitely be your chief director or director of finance or a technocrat. So there is always the connivance or support from the, the technocrat. And we normally are not interested in them. But we should not forget that whether the money is stolen by a politician or by a technocrat, it is still our money which is being stolen. So the effect or the anger should be the same from my point of view.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll come back to you. That's Daniel Yaudomelovo. He's a former Auditor General speaking to us about that special audit that has come up. And that's what we're going to take off this morning from. Let me now introduce my panelists in studio. And Yaudomelovo will be with us for the better part of the morning. He's not here presently, but he has agreed to be with us. Another via Zoom is Franklin Kuju of Imani Africa. Franklin, have you joined me yet? I think Franklin is having his breakfast, but he's a Catholic. He's in Lent. He's not supposed to be fasting, or they don't do on Saturdays. So I'll find out from him what's happening. My other panelists in studio. Let me start from the extreme end. Dr. Ishmael Norman is a security analyst. Doc, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
How's life been for you this week?
How is life?
How has life been for you this week?
By the grace of God, everything is fine.
Okay.
even though my pocket is loose.
Oh, how? Oh, how? Pocket there. You security man, they only need pocket. So you're fine. Yeah. You should believe in, you know.
I'm not among the stealing adult population of Ghana.
Yeah, let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. If whoever asks you to list them, they may start listing and I'll be in trouble. Abdul Fattah Al-Hassan is NDC Member of Parliament for Yendi. He's a lawyer. I think, is it Joffa or Tofa? Joffa. You're welcome.
Thank you, and good morning to you. Good morning to my colleague panelists.
Good morning to you. How is the Yana, my grandpa?
He's doing very well, and the people of Yendi too are equally doing very well. We are still in the month of Ramadan, hoping to end it by next week.
That's nice. Last time I passed through Yendi, your roads were looking very good.
Yeah, very, very good. Thanks.
But that was a good legacy that was left for you by the son of the former vice president.
Thanks to the Eastern Corridor project brought by his
thanks to President Akufo-Addo and his year of roads.
It was brought by the Eastern Corridor project. The Eastern Corridor project is the baby of GM. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, but Akufo-Addo came to deliver.
It was just a completion. He did the town one. He completed the town one.
He and Farouk Mahama. The man you took over from.
It was just a continuation of what had been started.
Very well. Yeah. Since I've spoken to a member of parliament, let me speak to someone who wanted to be. Akosua Manu is a member of the NPP communication team, was NPP Parliamentary candidate for Adenta. How are you?
I'm well.
I like to call you the people's cozy.
Yes, you've always called me that.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm well. It's good to be here.
How's the week been? You're wearing black. Are you mourning Ghana or something?
Actually, I went for a funeral before coming here.
Oh, okay. I thought that maybe because your people carried cocoa to the parliament to go and cry to you. They added
yam rice. I'm actually in mourning for 500,000 applicants who applied for, a job and.
Are those that you left unemployed and who John Mahama and his government are trying to help? Those ones.
Every government meets unemployed youth. It's having the vision and direction to create opportunities for them. So I stand in mourning in solidarity with them. 500,000. I stand in solidarity with cocoa farmers. I stand in solidarity with women who are looking for the Women's Development Bank to take off.
Which is coming.
And we know what women do when they're empowered. So even though I went for a funeral, since you opened the floodgates, it's only fair that my black is symbolic with the inadequacies and inefficiencies of this country.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's leave it like that. I'm the one who brought these matters. Let's drop it. We'll also be joined by Duncan Amwa, who is with COPEC in a jiffy, because we're talking more about energy this morning. But let me start with Joffa, Honorable MP for Yendi. You were in Parliament. The Deputy Minister of Finance, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, presented this report. To what end?
Well, Omar, thank you so much, and good morning to you once again, and good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners. Well, to what end? I think if you even look at the posture of one, the majority leader in Parliament, two, even if you listen very well to the Deputy Minister, where in certain stages of his presentation, he did indicate that parts or aspects of the report have been forwarded to the AG. And so AG has started, and even somewhere he talked about the surcharging and then disallowance has even started. And so this is not one report that would come and then be put in the shelves to also start gathering dust. I can assure you that this is a reset Ghana. It's fully reset, and Umaru, I want to say something.
Go ahead, say it. You're free.
Kozi is a silent bully.
Oh, how? What?
Kozi, anytime I'm on stage with her, nobody sees what she does to me. But she has a way of sweeping me up my...
I am here. I'm here as a moderator. I have not seen anything.
I pray the cameraman, you keep the camera on both of us at the same time when I'm talking.
Viewers,
don't only pin it on me, because I know what she does.
But she's not even facing you.
I'm being bullied.
Is there some underlying problem that I am not aware of?
Already there were concerns about the paneling, but he single-handedly.
What's the concern with the panel?
It's like, you're trying to.
I brought you closer to me as a moderator. I said I wanted to protect you.
It hasn't even protected me.
No, but he's saying that you are bullying him silently. I don't know what happened. Maybe we'll put somebody between the two of you.
Okay, you speak.
Okay.
Umar, you remember? Umar, you see why Ghanaians will be a little pessimistic about this report, and like you asked, to move to what end, is that, you know, we've had series of audit reports coming and we've not seen much being done about it. But you see, Umar, when we were ending our first term, JM1, in 2016, we passed the Public Financial Management Act. And you see, Umaru, it was not for nothing. It was because we had seen that our public financial management space had been left so loose that a lot of these things were being done and they were left off, people were left off the hook. And so we thought that by passing this PMFA, we're going to plug all the loopholes and as it were, be able to bring some sanity into the management of public finance. So, Umar, if after 8 years of the implementation of the PMFA, we are still back to seeing these things that we used to see pre-PMFA, then Ghanaians have every reason to ask themselves whether we have actually moved on. And if you listen to the debates in Parliament at the time they were passing the PMFA, in Parliament, if you go to Hansard and you listen to the debate, what people said, it was as if the PMFA was coming to solve all the problems we had been seeing in our audit reports.
At least on paper, it ought to have done so.
That is the issue. And so you see that sometimes people will tell you that the solution is not in the laws. You understand? It is in the implementation. And so if today we are still seeing the same things that we've been seeing we used to see pre-PMFA, then it tells you that our problems are not so much about the laws. So we are calling for, and I'm happy because this regime, if you look at the report, in fact, chances are, and I was telling my colleagues on the other side that let's not, from the onset, divide this report into NPP and DCG. The moment we do that, then we have spoiled the whole thing. Because chances are 90% of the people will be technocrats. You can argue that behind them would be politicians and all those things. But at least, for instance, if you take, you asked our senior Domelevo about what struck him the most, or what jumped at him when he listened to the presentation. I think what jumped at me, there were two issues. One was the defense area, and the other was the judicial service. The defense area, which was to do with where vehicles had been procured to monitor our boundaries during the 2024 elections until date, and store receipt advices have been issued that these items have been received. Until date, they can't find a single vehicle. That one jumps at me. The second one is the one with the judicial service. And see, you don't go to judicial service and find a politician there. That is why I feel we should move this conversation away from the political actors. Now, this is a case where the store guy issues the same store receipt advices, SRAs, that he has received 7 Toyota cars. It's there, it's been confirmed. Auditors have confirmed seeing these SRAs. Now, at the time the audit started, the company that was supposed to have been behind this wrote, when they heard that this audit had started, they quickly wrote back to the judicial service and to the auditors, telling them that, or indicating, in fact, the judicial service, indicating that they are unable to meet their obligations under the contract. So it raises, you ask yourself, you have also, we have seen documents indicating that the judicial service has received 7 vehicles, 7 Toyota cars. Now, there's a letter telling us that the company that is supposed to deliver the 7 Toyota cars is telling us that it is unable to meet the obligations under the contract. So what did we receive actually? And tell me, which politician prepares SRAs, store receipt advices? No politician does. It does not sit with any politician to do that. You understand? Now you come to the Agric Ministry, another area. 100+ bags or tons of maize were supposed to be transported. The person transports only a fraction of it. Now, he comes to take 50 million Ghana cedis as his transportation cost, when the portion he has transported only amounts to 30 million. Now, 20+ million is gone like that. Now, in addition to that, the ministry now gives him about 6 point something million Ghana cedis worth of the items, the maize, in lieu of cash payments. So now if you sum everything up, he's now around 61 million Ghana cedis that he has received, and he has only transported just a fraction, which means like up to 30 million Ghana cedis. Now, in addition to that, there is now a new request prepared and sent to the Ministry of Finance for additional payment of about 65 million Ghana cedis to the same person who has failed to honor his part of that. He has been overpaid, and people are not even concerned that he has been overpaid. There's even a fresh request for him to even be given additional 60-something million. And so if you go into the details, I don't see where politicians come in, which is why my call is that let's not start by dividing this or by seeing this as NPP and the city, else we'll lose the fight.
So we should take it to the civil servants and
yes,
hold
we
them.
should take it. We should make sure that
But I heard your leader there say that the political class are ultimately responsible for what happens anywhere. And so let's blame the politician ultimately, because for every department agency, there's a minister responsible.
Umaru,
and that minister is a political appointee.
Well, we are operating under laws. You know our criminal act. Now, if even you are working under me, I am the minister and you are a civil servant under me. Umaru,
agent and principal.
Exactly. No, but you see, with regards to criminal law, once it is established that the minister, the political actor, did not have a hand, you understand, in what you did, which amounts to a criminality, even though he was supposed to ultimately oversee the entire ministry, the buck still stops with you as a technocrat. Criminal liability has to be, the boundaries have to be defined. And you can't extend the boundaries beyond. You see, we have the political boundaries and we have the legal boundaries. What the majority leader was talking about was to do with political boundaries. That as a politician, you are ultimately responsible. That is political. But when you are talking about legality, the boundaries have to be clearly defined. If the minister does not have the ultimate responsibility of issuing or even vetting store receipt advices, or in cases of the agric ministry, the auditor, because the auditor of the agric ministry was specifically mentioned, that he certified that they had received these items. How can you bring in the minister at this stage when there's legally defined person who is supposed to certify that these things are done, and he has indeed certified that they have received this, when in the end it is found out that the items had not actually been received? How do you bring in a politician? So the majority leader was just talking in terms of the political space.
Okay, let me bring in Kosi. Kosi, Beshi has stopped bullying. And by the way, please take the water away from your table. My producers brought water in front of you.
I wanted to, but I thought
they want to trap you. My producers want to trap you. Don't drink that water. You're in Ramadan. Give it to Kosi. Kosi, what jumped at me in this report is the one district, one factory bit. Because it was, I believe that one district, one factory was going to be one of for your party when you were campaigning, you said you're going to move us from taxation to industrialization, and factories were clearly going to be part of that. But for someone to take advantage of that and chop our money, that's scary. But again, this is just my hook, but you can talk generally about the report. What's your view?
Okay, so good morning once again to all your viewers. And I'm trying to process what he said, Honorable MP. When their backs are against the wall, we shouldn't do politics. We should look at it from an objective lens and be citizens, fellow Ghanaians, in addressing the issue. The bit of the argument you showed on the floor of Parliament was clearly politicians making the argument that they come and go, the technocrats stay. Laws exist for a reason. In any case, people would take advantage when they feel there's a loophole. What's most striking to me was when the Minister of Finance made the claim, he was warned that people who are coming to you with these claims, you need to verify. He proceeded to add those claims to reduce the balance, if I should say, of what the NPP had left behind for them, so that it tells a very terrible story. I've sent your producer a video. I don't know if you've seen it. I've also sent it to you as well. The Minister of, the former Minister of Works and Housing, MP for Fuasia UAB, Kojo Ponkuma, on the floor of Parliament. And I would love for you to play it. It's just 1 minute. Warned Honorable Atuforsen that these claims that you are making, they are false claims. You stand a risk of embarrassing yourself if you proceed to add these claims into the books. But he went ahead. The audit, if we believe the audit...
When was this warning? And what claims?
I've sent you, it was on the floor of Parliament.
Yeah, but I mean, is it, how recent?
This was it's at the beginning of 2025.
Okay.
Because you know the audits, they're not done in...
Yeah.
We get it.
Yes, it's done over a period.
Yes. So he claims, remember, he read the budget, he claimed to have invited people with claims on government to come forward. Again, human as we are, there are people who concoct all sorts of things. There are people who exist who do that. No, it's almost similar to oral, where I'm happy that Honorable Domlevo is on the line, where he himself said there was a lot of garbage in his own words, which they couldn't verify those claims. So it wasn't possible to even take it up as a serious matter. It's no different from this, where you are warned, verify these claims. It's not true. What we've done is the true state, in its truest form. Believe it. Now, you can't create a scenario where you don't checklist verify and come back. And I'm saying this because he created the scenario of a crime. Audit exposes that it is not true. What's actually the NPP saying is true. At the end of the day, we all agree that there should be checks and balances. He's given a fantastic example. I don't even know which pickups he was talking about. Maybe he was supposed to come to his constituency because he's very passionate about it. But nonetheless, I'm saying it's not a boundary, but I'm just saying that at the end of the day, it's important that all the loopholes are sealed. It's important that we move forward. It's important that it is not only the political class that gets blamed when there's corruption. Those in there who'd stay, even though we come and go, ultimately also have to be held accountable. Even
when you instigate them to do that, you abet them.
So, Domlevo said something that somebody was flagged. I don't know the outcome of that. I don't have the details, but that's an example that he gave. And it's important that we move beyond shielding people that cause losses. 200 million cedis, he just said. What wouldn't that money do? What problems couldn't it solve? What agency was it? So, no matter what, they are corrupt people, be it politics or not, even in the safest places as a church. You'll be shocked that even when proceeds of the day in terms of a collection is accounted for, if you go, you see people who steal from the church all the time. But this claim, he was warned. Oh, please play the video. I want to tie it into the fact that
you want to dictate to my production.
I said please.
You are not in power. You are not in power anymore.
I humbly, on my knees, respectfully ask that video be played so that it adds to it enriches the discourse.
Very well. I'll let my producers debate about that. If they think it is worthy of playing, they'll let me know.
If they think it's worthy of playing, yes. It's just 1 minute. And
1 minute is very expensive on TV.
Sandra, we are here for 3 hours.
You continue with your submission.
We are here for 3 hours.
Continue with your submission.
So ultimately, I'm saying that we align and we agree that people ultimately should be held accountable.
But it's pointing fingers at your administration, right?
No, I'm saying that in this particular instance, 8 billion claims thrown out in debt audit. It cannot be that somebody creates this crime scene only for the audit to review that. It is not true. Beyond that, there are claims that date back several years. We need to, if we're going to punish, we won't start just from a certain time frame. We have to go all the way back. But we certainly need to move forward. So in the reset that he he likes to champion, despite its under a year falling flat on its face.
Oh, how?
Oh, we'll come to it. All the topics we are discussing shows there's a government and a party in crisis. We'll get to it.
The reset is not showing.
The reset is not showing.
Oh, okay.
It's reflected in utility tariffs going high. It keeps going high. You just introduced the show beautifully with scaring us that fuel prices are going to skyrocket.
No, that one is Netanyahu. It's not John Mahama.
But Ghana's on an island, so we're going to feel it.
Okay.
And we will say it is him, because when it was with us, he said it was us. Says it is him. Whatever goes up in terms of cost, it is him.
Okay.
They told us when a bomb is thrown 7,000 miles away, it doesn't land in Ghana.
But he didn't say that he knows how to bring back life and economy. That thing that people said that you couldn't do.
At the end of the day, that government prioritized the lives of Ghanaians. It came at a cost.
And
so at least we prioritize the safety and the lives of Ghanaians. We can never dismiss that fact.
And use the
So the
pandemic as
one
an
who said
opportunity
he
to
could do it
milk us.
better and should be given the opportunity, 1 year on has nothing. There's no flagship policy that is flying high. There's nothing on ground except for the same stability that we created with policies that were implemented before existing government.
Okay.
But you're taking the wind out of my sails. Otherwise, it looks like we're sitting here to,
I am sorry.
but we'll get to that. So ultimately, we are aligned and people should be held accountable. And it shouldn't be specific to a certain period. We should go all the way back. Go back to all the reports. Hold people accountable. It's the only way Ghana move forward.
I'll come back, and I'm still checking with my producer whether they'll play a video for you.
Wow.
Let me speak to
They
Frank.
can zoom in onto my phone and I'll play it on my phone.
We have to authenticate the video first. It's coming from you. We can't trust it.
Instead of AI.
Yeah,
A video on the floor of Parliament.
How?
You think that I use AI to create a video?
Oh,
to
it's very possible.
I
my
take
lady.
exception to
No,
this.
I'm not saying. I'm saying
I
it is possible.
No,
but your slogan was "It is possible." Why deny it possible?
I take great exception to this.
Because he wants to bully them.
So I see the collusion
So
here.
she's not only bullying.
I will put the video on my Facebook.
So Akosua is not only
I will
bullying.
put the video on my Facebook.
She's not only
after the
bullying her co-panelists. Now she's bullying the hosts
I will put
and the
video.
producers and the directors in the
Please
background.
follow my Facebook page. Akosua Manu is a verified page. I'll put the. If the producers don't play this video, I'll play this video. I'd love to upload it, but the network is a bit slow here. Patchy.
You're for one. Franklin Kojo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, my good brother.
Good morning. I was saying that it's Saturday, Lent. You are fasting, right? Or you're a staunch Catholic?
I'm a Catholic, yes. So we are fasting together, my brother.
That's nice. This audit report that has come out, I'm sure you have looked through. It looks like the same thing we've talked about a number of times, but can we move forward with this? Is this, I mean, it appears that there's going to be some alacrity with dealing with this. The Deputy Minister goes to deliver it, a committee will be set up, and it is also part of the provisions of the Audit Service Act. What's your view?
Well, before I begin, good morning to your panelists. Akosua, has been a while. By the way, you know, I was not surprised at all, because I recall way back in somewhere, I've forgotten the particular month, but before the budget, I met with some of us, and we had a lot of conversations. And he did tell me that, look, there's some forensic audit that ought to be done, because clearly speaking, there have been some monies that are supposed to be paid that he feels are quite suspicious, but he needed to confirm. So he mentioned the region of about 100 something, yeah, about the same amount that we are actually witnessing now. I think it's fall short by about 2 billion cities thereabout. It looks to me that it's only forensic audits that can actually uncover some of these things, because the normal audits already give us headache already. And to think that the forensic audits actually establish, should I call it what I call the crookish network, the underbelly, in the underbelly of the beast, then clearly speaking, it is important that we probably start looking more at conducting forensic audits for most government work. So look, it is not new. We know these things happen all the time, but it's the scale, you know. And to think that some of these things occurred during the times that we were in almost economic atrophy. I mean, don't forget we were junk rated, thrown out of the international markets. We couldn't borrow, we couldn't do anything because all the fundamentals were awkward and running around like Usain Bolt on steroids. It tells me that, clearly speaking, some people were just interested in, just looting spree. And by the way, you should be listening to the likes of Kojo Nkrumah, and I think there's this gentleman in Parliament, this tall gentleman I say should be president one day, Patrick, right? Interesting man.
Patrick Boama.
Patrick Bob, very decent politician. You know, these guys have always they saw all this carnage and said, look, and they actually applauded that too for staying the hands of some of these contractors who say they should be giving mobilization money. Because they said, look, if they had done that in their time, some of these odious deaths we are hearing about would not even come up at all. Because how is it that when you tell somebody to go and mobilize, construct a road and mobilize money, you actually it's actually a license to be corrupt, because then he's going to mobilize the money, come and give you fictitious article certificates, and then you ought to pay. What Ato did, and which is what I think confounds most of my friends in the NPP, is that they don't even understand what is called economic management. Discipline also counts a lot. If a minister comes into office and says that, look, every ministry should not, no ministry should actually give out a project until they've gone through a verified system. Yes, it may be slow. That's why people say that it's slow in paying debt, paying bills and all of that. I'd rather it slows down and make sure that it doesn't commit the same offenses that his predecessors committed, than to be told that you are giving a bill later after he's left office. So he says, no, I'm not going to do this. I'll certify it properly, and nobody should mobilize any money. I told you of my own experiences, right? I went to lobby for a Get Fund project. I don't like to use the word lobby, because we are entitled to it, by the way. St. Mary's, my old school, that actually birthed me. And I went to the Get Fund, and I said, look, guys, that school did a lot for some of us. The school is in, it's a moribund right now. It's near death. What can you do? Furniture, this and this and this. And they said, look, okay, well, we'll help you. We'll do all of the things, at least 70 or 80% of the things you say you want. But listen, if you know any contractor who is capable of executing this project, before he's paid, then go and look for it. I said, I don't want to get into that game, because I don't know any contractor anyway, right? But again, so when I went to Ato and we were talking, Ato said, this is why he's warned people not to do that. As I understand the wisdom. You know, so look, it is sad. And I feel strongly that, look, it's gone beyond some of the politics that we talk about. There's also collusion between people in public servants, especially. Public servants, especially, are somehow responsible for some of this carnage. Did I tell you the experience of Ato Forsen, right? 2 weeks after I got the job, he called me and said, I can put this out, because I've told him, we discussed it. He said, some people in the ministry came and called it, said, Charlie, it's going to be wow, I be a DDO, I finance minister be a DDO. Listen carefully. I'm serious. I told confirm, and he still told me, and he said, that's where they pay Kenny GVG from. Because you never see this amongst the consolidated fund. So you don't know why these crooked projects are being paid from, right? And so he said, you remember he came to Parliament and said you used 2% of that tax refund money to settle the gap in the taxes they waived. Did you remember?
Yep.
That's where that money came from. And he told me that, he said, Franklin, I'm a young man. There's nothing I'm going to do that with things my name. As soon as they told me that, I said, then we'll do this. Of course, my good friend, Madam Eva, will also tell you the sort of things. Madam Eva, who until recently was chief director of the ministry. She's also seen a lot. In fact, if she had not had a critical eye, at some point, some ministries would go and procure vehicles. And one time she said, I saw these vehicles last time. You presented, a particular ministry came, presented the same document that they wanted the same number of cars, the same specifications. And he said, but I saw these cars in your yard about 2 years ago. Where are they? So until she followed and found out that, hey, just people are milking the system. And these are mostly civil servants, public servants, who have become, by their principles, called anonymity, permanency. And that's the sort of conversation I want to have the closer board. And when he wakes up, he's just interested in declaring strikes, but he's not interested in making sure that his own people are also to be questioned as to why our finances are in a certain critical situation and we can't pay proper salaries. So look, it's a combination of factors, but the most important thing is the action you took. I keep telling people that, look, Operator was my good friend. At the point I told him, I don't think you should be finance minister. The guy never understood public policy. He never understood anything about public financial management. Because he allowed everybody, he rammed the finance ministry with his cohorts from everywhere. And each of those persons who came created funnels and channels to milk the system. He just didn't get it. I wish he knew what he knows now, right? So look, it depends on who the finance minister, it depends on who is managing the affairs of the state, of finances. That is when you have some of these things stop. So the likes of, listen to the likes of Nkrumah and Patrick Boama, the more, because those guys, they've seen it before, and they keep advising, look, it's because we've seen it before. That's why we are advising that, look, what the action the NDC is taking, the force is taking, is the right course of action. You know, so it beggars belief, really. If we at Imani have decided to stop, we have something called the Fiscal Recklessness Index. I remember telling my sponsors that they said, how are you going to call this project? I said, fiscal recklessness. And I called a friend of mine who is not a court of appeal judge, said, oh, frankly, you know, the name recklessness is too harsh. I said, wait until you see the details of what we present. When he came to the program, he saw that, he said, I think you should use a stronger word than recklessness. By the way, we've stopped it because, you know why? Because it's better to prevent the loot before it actually occurs. What's the point in analyzing Auditor General's report when in actual fact the crime has already occurred? So we should invest more in preventing these things rather before they occur. And I think on that score, it's on a sound footing. And that's a discipline that differentiates between the last administration and today. Anyway, government is a continuum, so I hope we learn and go forward. So these are preliminary comments, but okay. Look, it's still the whole story. What I think should be done is that all those people should be chased. For instance, at Agenda 111. Why? Why is it that a hospital? Never mind that the Agenda 111. For me, I said it's a project to just. I don't think Nanado, my good friend, it really had a handle on that particular one, except for the issues of maybe politics. That we need to have a hospital everywhere. The issue is that if you do that and you create a situation where people are told to go and mobilize money, close to 100 million Ghana cedis, it's not accountable because people want to mobilize money. 30 of those projects have not even started, but they've taken money. You understand? So these things must all be put into perspectives, and those contractors must be looked for and the names published. We are tired of just putting all of this under some carpet and then leaving it away. I mean, sometimes they give the politicians a bad name. Like I said, there are many.
But frankly, this time around, it appears the politicians may not be the ones on the front burner. Would it make it easier to fight or difficult?
Well, we see. So that's why I'm saying that. You see, so well, it's a combination of factors. I mean, if you have a pliant politician who wants to play ball. I'm not saying that every civil servant is corrupt, but of course I'm saying that civil servants, the very odious ones, actually encourage this type of things. So we should actually fight the system, not just fight the politicians who come and go. As for them, they come and go and they bear the brunt of all this nonsense because they themselves are quite lazy. Unfortunately, very lazy in ensuring that the right things are done. I mean, if I'm not saying Ato would never ever commit any sin, I pray he doesn't, but at least he started on a good footing that I'll not commit the same mistakes that my predecessors committed. So I'd rather stop the hemorrhaging before it occurs. And that part of the stopping the hemorrhaging means looking within the system where the civil servants work and ensuring that any attempt to collude and then corrupt and then dissipate the funds of the country might be stopped immediately. And so maybe our next project, you and I, or you and me rather, we should start focusing there more about the systems we put in place for civil service. I think we started doing something. Remember, Inspirational Public Sector Leadership Awards, and I think we are going to bring it back, and we'll have you as our anchor as well. That one goes to the heart of the issues of procurement. We monitor, we rate the extent to which public servants are actually encouraging good procurement or not. And to his credit, by the way, my good friend, the former Greek minister, not the one who wanted to be
Dr. Friakoto. Not the Friakoto. The one who wore Wellington boot. Oh, you mean Dr. Brian Champo?
Right. Oh, okay. There was a conversation we had. One nice time, we were having breakfast. And then I said, look, this procurement thing, he said, look, Massa, the procurement thing, it starts from the particular ministries, the people within the ministry who start all these things all the time. If you don't manage that, you're just wasting your time. And that's where we should start it from. Anyway, so thank you.
Thank you. Franklin Kujo, President of Imani Africa. Dr. Norman, yes. The audit has been done, the report is out there, the debate has started. But how do we ensure it doesn't end with just a debate and that someone is punished and that our money is retrieved? And we may even go ahead and talk about this conversation where our AG appears to be focused more on retrieving money for us. Should we focus on jailing people or getting the money back? Which one?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me, and happy to meet Honorable and Sister Akosua.
Sister Akosua the bully. She was trying to bully Franklin.
Oh, she's been very fair with me.
Invisibly, but Franklin was on Zoom, so...
She's been very fair with me.
Okay.
And Honorable Level, and of course my brother Franklin. I hope you're all doing well. This issue of adult stealing, which we don't like to label it as it is, changes the propensity of crime from the youth to the adult population of Ghana. The professional office holders are the biggest thieves in Ghana. Even though they pretend to be wearing nice suits, looking nice dresses, looking responsible, they are totally irresponsible. I believe that there should be strict punitive punishment to any one of these individuals, whether he's a politician, NPP, NDC, or he is a public servant. When I look at some of these, just reading the label, fictitious debt of 89.4 million under one district, one factory. Falsified store receipts, advice intended for misappropriation of public funds. So if there are receipts, it means we have the evidence, the name of the people, the signatures of those who signed it, and for the activity for which the receipts were created. Falsified stores receipt, advices intended for misappropriation of funds, dry spell expenditures, duplication entries. I mean, you go through the list. It means that we have documentary evidence. As Honorable was saying, the legal side requires documentary evidence. The perpetrators, they are already captured by the receipts. And so the talk is getting a bit too much. On both sides of the political divide, the NPP, the NDC, let's get together, look at the names on the receipts. Let's arrest them and put them in jail for a while as the trial is going on. Let's overshadow.
You can't do that one.
Because sometimes
you can't jail before you convict.
I understand. I'm a lawyer. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I don't. So that's why I'm surprised you're turning it upside down.
Okay. I also run an university that specializes in criminology. All right. I know what Martin Pebbles' case is all about.
Court decision is
48 hours. There should be a bail.
Yes.
But there are certain situations where, with the flight, the possibility of flight,
yes,
you capture them.
But that's a judge's discretion.
Yeah, I know that. So I'm not the one that's going to do it.
Okay.
You go through the legal process.
I thought you wanted us to just catch the people who have been named and
you go through the process and put them behind bars until you finish with them. Okay? These kinds of crimes that they have committed against the average person, whether they are NPP or NDC, has negative effect on every one of us. And if this was in China, they will be marched to the firing squad and shot. We are too soft with our criminal justice system in this country.
Are you sure? People are serving decades in
We
jail.
are very soft. It takes forever to try one case. We don't even have a lot of the skills to do the basic investigation, but by the grace of God, we have the receipts. We have the people who receive the payments. So no need to really spend so much time to look for the evidence. It's there. You bring the people in, videotape every kind of investigation, every kind of interview, every kind of questioning, videotape everything, and continue to build your evidence so that you can then go to court and get them jailed. In terms of the acquisitions of properties that they use the stolen money to acquire, retrieve them. And if they put it in their wife's name, then it's a prosecutorial ring fence. Bring the wife in. If they put it in their mother's name, bring the mother in. How can a woman who doesn't work or a man who doesn't work have money to buy a house that is worth 2 million?
Inheritance.
Excuse me?
Inheritance?
Inheritance from where? The guy hasn't died. The lady hasn't died. How did it happen?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are too soft. I don't want to spend so much energy talking about this, but the adult office holders in this country are some of them are among the biggest thieves in this country. And we need to get more aggressive. Forget about yamfa manyame nonsense. And let's go after them with the law and make sure we jail them for long periods of time. I believe that we should revive the death penalty. Oh, seriously, we should. Because some of these things, they harm. For example,
you're in
if
a
something is
revolutionary
for,
mood this morning.
Oh, I'm very happy. And when I talk, I don't even drink, so I'm not. I'm not bullying anybody. I'm just speaking for majority of Ghanaians. Somebody goes to steal a goat, he's arrested and jailed for 2.5 years. Somebody goes to steal 2 million, 10 million, he's not even arrested.
So for you should start marching people to the public square and shooting them.
No, after justice has been rendered.
Okay.
And if it is recommended, because we don't have the death penalty, some of these people, they walk
but life
and
in
go
prison.
and enjoy their money.
But life in prison is the same as death penalty.
Life in prison so that we care for them, spend more money on them.
Is just one kinky and a head of fish.
Have you ever gone to someone prison to see where they put the political prisoners?
Yes, I've been.
It's not in the general population. The political prisoners are not in the general population.
So they continue to have classism even in
we
incarceration.
do. This country is all about elitism. We even in the prison system, we have class system there. You know, so I think we are too soft, very, very soft, because sometimes we let political decisions override criminal justice system in this country. So I don't want to talk too much about issues that have been happening, one government after the other, after the other, after the other. We all know. Some of us even know the players of the people that they go into politics within 2 years, they are buying houses in big, big places. How much is your salary as a politician?
We have to investigate Akosua. Yeah. Thank you. I want us to take a break and come back to another issue, but maybe just you can comment on this, how it should be dealt with, because so the talk has been done. How do we act on it? He wants us to possibly start catching them, locking them, investigating, prosecuting, and if convicted, maybe take them to the firing squad at Teshi, which I don't think is still functioning though. But
yes. I think there's nothing wrong with our
legal system.
You see, sometimes we can complain about the delays in the trial processes, but sometimes it's also better to have that delay and arrive at a very sound and acceptable conclusion than to hurry the process through and then hit at very bad or serious hurdles. And so I feel once we are committed to the process, we can, because we've even seen instances where the Chief Justice has helped to set up special courts for special instances.
You posted you're going to bring the tribunal back, the regional tribunal.
Yeah, it's still on course.
But it's taking forever.
Yeah, it's still on course. You know, just recently we even introduced the bill to bring back or if you like, bring in this community service system where people don't necessarily, especially those who are found guilty of misdemeanors, do not necessarily have to be incarcerated. They may do some communal labor or serve in another form. Just so, like he was saying, it's very expensive to actually keep these people behind bars, keep them in jail. It's not an easy thing, and given that the government is already struggling to meet its obligations, if we can find alternative ways of dealing with this, I was just trying, and I'm also disappointed that they've not been able to play your video. But me, I was even concerned about the fact that why would you even expect the finance minister to heed to a call by Kojo Nkrumah that he should accept certain requests for payment?
It's verification.
Sorry.
So again, verify the claims before you come onto the floor of Parliament and tender in a sum of money. is due diligence. That was all that was required.
But the receipts
again,
are there.
you can continue. If the receipts are there, why has the audit thrown out 8 billion?
Can be even better.
Why has the audit thrown out 8 billion if those were the receipts they were claiming?
Omar, and she was trying to liken this to Aura. Now, Omar, this process has the Auditor General's office, it has PwC, it has Ernst & Young. These 3 agencies went in to verify these claims. And the Deputy Finance Minister only came to Parliament after the completion of the work. So what other means of verification is Kosi talking?
Allegedly. That is what you are telling us. But indeed, if all those processes were really done,
no, it's part, it would have saved, in this verification.
It would have saved the egg on the face of the Minister of Finance. But it's fine. You defend. You continue defending.
This is
continue
the
defending.
That every sound democratic system and sound system would go by. And so, and you see, I want to differentiate this process from Aura. Look.
Now I'll speak to the Aura man. He's still with us, so you.
Yeah, and I'm happy that he's even on. You see, the Aura to me was just meant to take information from whistleblowers. Look, no, the Aura team could not have even invited the other side, the people who were alleged to have committed those crimes, because in fact they didn't even have the money to invite them. They may not even come before them when they are invited. But you see, now these are people who have brought in their documents that we have these claims against government. So, and these 3 institutions, Auditor General, PwC, and so you are saying, okay, you said you have these claims against government. Come and let's substantiate the claims. So you are brought there, and then upon all the questioning and all the verifications, they come to this conclusion. Aura didn't go through that process. Aura said, just ask people, what do you know about this? What do you know about this? And if they say something about Akosua, Aura didn't even have the money to call Akosua to hear from Akosua's mouth. But in this instance, almost every party that is connected to that transaction was brought on, to the extent that, like you rightly said, the issue about the 1D1F. They brought payments, invoices that were submitted with regards to 1D1F, mentioning some banks that some interest payments were supposed to have been made.
And they followed up to check with those banks.
They followed up with the banks. They have the money to do all this. So they did all this. That is why it took them a year. How long did Aura take to finish their work? They did it within a period of 1 month or so. You understand?
So all you just confirmed is that Oral is a low budget.
So now that you have taken over, continue with your submission. Because
I'm saying that trying to justify Oral, he's just made it's clear low budget audit, and
no, it's not. It wasn't an audit. It was information collection.
Yes. Information collection. Let's continue till date. Let's not end it, because there are things happening.
No, it was temporary.
Under their watch.
It was temporary.
The reset they promised, the transparency, accountability, moving Ghana forward. Bring back Oral, so that we know that they are actually committed to the fight against corruption. They are committed to make Ghana better. They are committed to the processes that continue impeding our development and making us lose money at the various ministries and agencies. Again, Sanda, when you draw parallels with the NPP, there's a clear line drawn. The minute you say reset, it means that accountability is going to start with you, because you created that principle and that perception. So the reset...
Does it start with you?
It's starting with you, yes. It's starting with your tenor.
So you can't go back?
So, even when we go back, ultimate responsibility ends with you. So you have to accept responsibility. There's a lot happening. A lot is being done. Look, if we're able to take this 500,000 that will come to shortly, and the money's raised, and I'd love to hear his argument on that, because it clearly shows there's no synergy between party and government. It shows the pressure under which Honorable Muntaka was put on to come and speak to sort of heal wounds or temper the agitations that were happening. I'm sure his constituency platforms were boiling, because all MPs were even given one slot. And again, I've moved into another topic, but
yeah, I'm glad you know that you are moving off lane. I'm just watching you.
I mean, we've ended the conversation.
We are told that you're a bully, so I'm afraid to intervene. I'll wrap up so that we can come back and talk about that. Mr. Domelovo, if you are still there with us, the conversation in the room, especially from Kosi, is that Oral, your work, there was a lot of noise about it, but it appears the fire has all gone down. What is the... Okay, I'm told that I do not have Daniel Domelovo. This is the big issue on 97.3 CTFM and on ChannelOne television. Join us with your messages on the topics we are discussing this morning. 0543 986 996, 0543 986 996, or 020 444 7033, 020 444 7033. I'm Umar Rusanda. That's my handle, at Umar Rusanda on X. Send your messages, and then the world will hear what you think. We'll be back to talk about the recruitment issue and the matters that came up. Please stay. Speaker story. The Minister for the Interior and MP for Aswasi, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, has said that 500,000 people applied to be recruited into the security services. The available slots are, guess what, 5,000. I don't even know what percentage that is. 5,000 out of 500,000, which means 495,000 people will not get a slot. That's a big deal. There was a back and forth. I want you to just listen to Reverend Ntim Fojo. He is a reverend, but he was also the key person from the minority side on defense and interior, and then we'll hear from Muntaka Mubarak. 2 insets, and I'll come in studio.
There must be an independent bipartisan probe into the entire centralized recruitment process for immediate and appropriate review before we continue. And number 2, very, very importantly, responding to the plight of the 500,000 potential recruits who have been scammed, we demand the government must refund the application fees of 220 cedis per application form to all applicants who were disqualified through knocked out technology constraints, who were disqualified not because they did not qualify, but because of the problematic nature of the aptitude tests by the questionable recruitment process. They must all be restored.
The total space we have to be able to recruit in this first phase, and my emphasis, first phase of the recruitment process, is only 5,000. And yet you have over 500,000 Ghanaians who want to join. So you have to use a system that is devoid of human interference to enable the system to carry you to that end. All these things are things that you use, and through that, some people will fall along the way to enable you get, someone said, about the best of best. So I know a lot of young people may be disappointed, but they should exercise restraint. The president instructed that, look, those who qualify and pass medicals, let's keep the data. This is the first phase. We are hoping that maybe later in the day, because remember this current recruitment that we are doing is a 2025 recruitment. Hopefully when we are out of the IMF, we could do the 2026, so we'll pick from that same data. Hopefully, if maybe it's past 6 months, then you can only ask them to repeat medicals, but not to start opening the process all over again.
So that's Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak. He is NDC MP for Aswasi, Minister for the Interior, also in charge of national security. Akosua,
I thought you said you were starting with Dr.
I want to start with you.
You've changed your mind.
I am the moderator. You can't bully me.
You are the bully here.
You can bully everybody else around this table except
here.
me. Bully my cameraman with your eyes, bully my everybody, but me, you will not succeed.
I've been smiling at that cameraman.
He will mind you.
He's so stiff.
He's a hard guy. He's a hard guy. Cozy, it looks very simple. A government wants to recruit people into the security agencies. Because of the massive youth unemployment, 500,000 people apply. The slots available are 5,000. You cannot take 500,000 people for a job of 5,000 or job availability of 5,000. You just have to send 495,000 home. That cannot be wickedness. And you can't force people into the system when, for instance, some of the services, Muntaka has explained that they don't even have up to 20,000 people, like the total strength, and yet they have over 70 or 100,000 people applying for that. You cannot deal with this in any way than to say, thank you, but we cannot accept you now. This is not political, is it?
It's not. So let's look at it this way. And I'm speaking from someone who champions youth. You know, you followed me for a while, Sandra. We've been friends for a while.
In your office, the branding is still there. You've not removed it. You're the only one who has not removed your party branding at your party office, your personal office.
No, I shouldn't, because it captures projects I took up, and I'm very proud of that.
Okay.
During
but you're maintaining that big office in opposition 1 year on after losing election. Hey, Cozy. Anyway, continue. You have money.
This is propaganda. You just want my destiny helpers not to. Don't want them to take care of me.
But you said I'm your friend, so I'm just letting people know what I know about you.
So, you see, when it comes, let me start from here. When it comes to Ghana, we have one of the youngest populations within the sub-region, actually on the continent. We have what you call a youth bulge, okay? It's a demographic structure in which people between the ages of 15 to 35 are predominantly the largest within the population. It presents an opportunity for rapid economic development, but at the same time, it can also be a means to instability. Why? Because if these young persons are not meaningfully engaged, it becomes a means to cause disruptions or havoc or whatever. So we have a youth bulge. Other countries which had similar, so you take Asia for instance, they saw the need for industrialization. They saw the need to get in heavy on exports. They saw the need to for digital transformation. They saw the need to make education a priority. One of the things that I struggle with, even as a young politician, is that we don't have a national agenda. Our elders...
On what? National agenda on what?
And on development, as far as young people are concerned. Where every party comes in and has its manifesto. And by and large, when it comes to the NPP, we have been very intentional in making sure that at least 75 to 80% of what we said we'll do it. Now, you understand that you have a young population. You understand there's unemployment. There's a party that sold an idea of 24-hour economy. That idea ultimately meant jobs for people. So for a young person who proudly says, and there are so many young people who proudly say, I've never voted before, and it breaks my heart to hear that, because elections have consequences. Not paying attention to who becomes a leader has consequences. But then they feel that it doesn't matter. So every political class, party-wise, needs to make a case for a young person to want to vote. You say 24-hour economy, flagship policy, okay, that was their overarching policy. A year and a half on, nothing.
No,
133.
There's something happening in your constituency, especially.
The office is there.
No,
Are you telling me that the
DVLA in Adenta is running 24 hours?
DVLA office, how do you call it? Employs how many people? 50,
no,
100, 120.
But it's not zero.
The physical structure does not translate to job opportunities for young people. Let's not be trivialized. Let's not assign buildings. If I take a 24-hour, but there's one job that they branded 24-hour economy office.
No, after the DVLA is not the branding. I'm saying that I have gone to see
I'm saying
it.
that
I went to register a car
if I
close
ask
to midnight.
young people unemployed in Adenta to come to my office on Monday, I'm sure my office will be swamped and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So their box of taking for opportunities for young people is not there. The 133 a year on, where one job, 3 people, 3 shifts. We should have at least seen
Akosua Kojo and Mensa.
In Sanda, we should have seen at least 4 or 5 regions at the very best, at the very least, a spread of opportunities for young people. So then you come to opportunities that seem to exist. Security services, for some reason, a lot of people feel that is a one-stop shop for them as far as opportunity is concerned. You have a Minister of Interior grant an interview. You know, the first bit of the interview I saw, he says something about we have to ensure there's quality in the service, which I agree. When it comes to security and health, we shouldn't compromise on those services. Sanda, people have died for next to nothing in this country just because of a poor decision taking or a lack of empathy, even from people who are supposed to take care of people. We hear that is 500,000 people that applied. In fact, there's 506,000 people that applied at a cost of 220 cedis. Each. Beyond the application, they were tasked to do an aptitude test, an AI aptitude test. Sanda, despite the gains the previous government made in trying to spread internet connectivity within the country, there are still people who will be disenfranchised because internet connectivity is not seamless. So in your own constituency, I'm sure that if you travel north, and I've never called you where you are north before, but chances are...
My constituency is actually not in the north. My constituency is very close to your constituency, but I have a lot of... Shai Osudoku is my constituency. We are neighbors, but I have a lot of challenges in terms of network.
Okay.
You see, I said that bullying will not work, but I didn't know mischief would work. You continue. But I will do you some.
The point is, you don't have seamless internet services. So even for the young people... Even in your constituency, which is an urban constituency. There are certain places, there are certain spots where internet is slow, where you call somebody and they tell you, oh, this way, and it makes sense that, oh, yeah, that place, you know. So even in the application, you have knocked out about 70% of the people who applied, which begins the mischief conversation or what the conspiracy theories are saying, that they already knew who they wanted to give the opportunities to. 500,000, 5,000, get it. Now, this is where the problem is, and it exposes the government because Honorable Atuforsen has not given financial clearance to allow them to employ more.
But they can't employ more.
I'm saying, look, when you look at the police service, per the requirements, it should be 10 citizens to 1 policeman. That was the average, as far as we're supposed to.
I think it's 1 to 500. No, 1 to 500.
1 to 500, but we are not even there.
No, we are not.
So, no, then...
No, the US standard is one policeman to 500 people.
Okay, so 1 to 500. We are not even there yet. So there's opportunity, there's a lot of room. So stability, championing successes, whatnot. No financial clearance for them to employ more. And even the 5,000, I'll tell you that if the 5,000 was to come directly from NDC alone, it will not be enough. Now you come to the cost. You levy a cost knowing full well that all along you're going to take 5,000, but you take in excess of 5,000. It would have made sense to stop at 30,000 or 40,000, but you went all the way to 500K, actually 506,000. When you do the math, it's over 110 million cedis. So it exposes the ministry that was it a way to raise funds?
Internally generated funds.
IGF, they've knocked the ball out of the park, because
no, but you see, in fact, I interviewed the minister Muntaka, and he said, listen, you've given a window for application. You said applications are from 1st January to say 10th January. You start on the 2nd January, notice people have 200,000 have applied. You can't stop it there and say, hey, we are stopping because we reach 200,000. You have to wait till 10th January to close it formally. And you cannot control how many people applied during that period. Are you saying that they should have closed the door? That would not be fair.
Within from 2002 to 2006, in a space
you mean
of 4
2022?
years, between 2022 and 2026, I'm trying to recall the data. It was about 240,000 applicants collectively. Okay,
during your tenure?
Yes, that was during our tenure. Now, in 2024, and this data was actually from another source. Again, I've been trying to, I tried to reach the former Interior Minister to give me a certain breakdown.
He's happy listening to Bob Marley in his constituency.
There was 90,000 applicants in 2024 and 12,000 got in. Okay. Even if you had to do the breakdown and look at the spread, again, 500,000. He's saying that he couldn't have closed off the portal.
No, you can't close it midstream. That would be.
So they have to accept it.
You have to take everybody.
Okay, so then let's do what is morally right by returning the funds to them.
No, you can't do that either.
Actually, you can.
Because the payment is for processing, and you have been processed. It's just that if you went to the US embassy and applied for a visa,
it's a government
if you don't get a visa, they don't give you back the money.
So again, then you made the point that they are treating it like a visa. There are persons who are even within governments on both sides who have served in the US Army before. Nobody levied a fee before they filed. Nobody levied a fee before they even took an aptitude test. So I'm saying that in excess, knowing full well that you can only satisfy 5,000, at least put a human face to it and say that, you know what, at the very least, let's return it to them. Again, the pressure...
But you would have used that money to process their applications. How do you return it to them?
Listen, beyond the processing of the application, what is processing? Now there are AI tools that can even sift and tell who did what. Because they use AI for the aptitude test, they've already knocked out a human interface of assessing how they did the aptitude test. It's already been done. In less than 1 hour, I'm sure they had the results. There's not much work effort as far as that.
There'll still be administrative work that's done.
The other effort is the medical exam. The medical exam, they are going to pay again. So aside the 220 form, they are going to pay for medicals.
Yeah, there's a software that is used for the application. There's
110 million
there are people
CDs.
behind the scenes who...
110 million CDs. It is not right. I'm saying that.
For 500,000
For 500,000 people.
Because you are saying...
Take the 5,000 out of the 500,000.
You are saying that if you run for parliament and you lose, the electoral commission should pay you back your filing fees.
I never asked for my filing fees. When
so
you pay for
thing.
filing fees, the understanding is that it's also supposed to help run the elections. Because the elections, they are going to...
But that's the same thing they've done with this one today. It's helping run the application process. You paid...
Sandra, you are shocking me. The application process that is computer-driven...
Electoral commission that they print ballot for you to go and
Why are you
print.
drawing parallels with the electoral commission?
No, I'm just giving you... I'll give you visa, now I'm giving you electoral commission.
No. Let's stick to the issue here.
Let me give you WASI then. If you write WASI and you fail the result, they should give you back your money.
It was willful. Willful looting and extraction of funds from their own party people.
Oh, how?
Because, again, the hopes of the young people who were promised a shift, 133, who were promised jobs, in their excitement felt that they would get opportunity. There were persons who are now running, who are heading institutions, who said they were going to sack everybody from the security agencies and put their party persons there. So it's those hopes that had that number, that surge that has never been seen before, 500,000 applying. Let's not downplay it. Let's not trivialize it.
What if you reverse it and say that...
Again, the minister said, let me continue.
No, let me just want to come in.
Right now, you want to distract
me. No,
I'm not. We are going to finish this conversation.
We will.
The minister said...
What if you reverse it and say...
other people have repeated that those who have applied, they are going to... They'll be added... There'll be a backlog. And that backlog, they'll look at them. They'll be prioritized the following year.
Yes.
First of all, people are going to age. If somebody's already hit the age limit, you are not going to say that you are going to take them because they didn't get in the year before.
Yeah.
Also, what is this thing about everybody who applied will eventually get in? If we are going to say this, it's another lie to them because even for this year alone, you are taking 5,000 out of the 490, out of the 500,000, which means that if you are taking 5,000 every year, because clearly they are not going to be able to do more. We are talking about a 10-year span.
Even 10 years cannot take that. But Akosua, your manifesto in 2016 was an agenda for jobs. You came into the office for 8 years. If you had created enough jobs through your NAPCO and all those things that you did, we wouldn't have 500,000 people within 1 year looking for jobs. The beauty of it because these 500,000 people are not babies who have just been born over the last 1 year.
The beauty of it is you've been in this business for a long time, and I've heard you where when others dismissed that we had created over 2 million jobs, you sat down to give the breakdown and said that even if we had created those 2 million jobs, it wasn't enough. We are sitting here where people have created 500,000 are fighting for jobs. When the president stood in Parliament less than a month ago, saying that 1 million jobs had been created, only to find out from the government statistician that is only 300,000 that has been created. Even the 300,000, there's still a question mark on it. So if indeed 1 million jobs had been created, again, if you come and tell me that if we had created jobs in essence, then we should have solved the unemployment business, then the NDC had no business coming into government. They had no business making the promises they made. They made promises on jobs.
Okay.
Now the jobs, they within a year, have lied on the floor of Parliament by their head honcho, President John Mahama, that he has created 1 million jobs, which is a lie, a palpable lie.
You're calling the president a liar.
I said what he said is a lie. If you choose to call him a liar, you might have evidence of it. You are welcome to do that. I'm saying that 1 million jobs created, which could have gone to young people.
They've changed their name now. They are called NIBO. I like your face, so it's nice. So this is a friendly advice.
If the BNI wants to arrest me today, per what you are saying, because I said the president lied, then they are welcome to do it. But before they come for me, they should also come for him.
Okay.
Because he lied on the floor of Parliament. It's captured in their hands that 1 million jobs he said he had created. If that was true, at the very least, his party foot soldiers should be happy. It should not put stress on the Interior Minister. The Interior Minister has no business coming to even speak to us on why government security agencies cannot meet the demand from the teeming youth who are looking for opportunity. And if you come and say that NPP said no, you said 24-hour economy, you said 133 ship policy, you said that you could do this and generate opportunities. You had your biggest loud mouths who have been rewarded with positions saying that they were going to sack people to make room for young people. So the buck stops with them, and that is what they have to answer. So between the Minister of Finance, Ato Forsen, who is not giving financial clearance, look, as we speak, rent allowance for prison services and fire service hasn't been paid.
You know this on authority?
Yes, they haven't been paid. Rent allowance. They should phone in if they've been paid. Over a year, they haven't been paid. Recently, there was an allowance adjustment in this same security services. As of 2024, we had increased it to almost 2,400 under Nana Akufo-Addo. The adjustment they've gotten is less than 1,000 Ghana cedis. So a government that is screaming, dollar is down, but you haven't created jobs. There are no jobs for even the people who fought for you. And the people crying are not even, we say, these are their own party people so disappointed, the despondency in the system. They are so shocked that these are the people that we hang our hopes and dreams on them, at the very least. And even when we are doing our own businesses, the electricity prices are a different conversation to have. So at the very least, they should hold their leaders accountable for the promises they made. I didn't tell them to make those promises.
Okay. Honorable, they say that your math is what has landed you in this. You said you're going to create 3 jobs. I mean, you're going to give 3 people the opportunity to do the same job. Now, you are there. In fact, we saw the military recruitment process. We saw people die. We saw the stampede. We saw the sheer numbers. And now these ones have not been put together at one place, but 500,000, that's 500,000. That's more than your constituency, the people in your constituency. You owe us an apology.
This subject of security recruitment is really a difficult one. The truth is that we cannot sit here and say that we do not have a crisis at hand. We have, as a nation, a big crisis, and Akosua has kind of touched on it, the fact that government in, government out, we have consistently failed when it comes to creating job opportunities for our youth, and it's just because of the nature of the economy we keep running. Look, when we say we are creating jobs, and if we say that and we are only talking about the government creating the jobs for the people, then we are lying to ourselves. There's no government who can even absorb 5% of the youth population in terms of creating jobs for them. There is no such government. And so let's look out for policies and programs that will help create the enabling environment for the private sector to absorb the youth. And when we promised the young people jobs in the run-up to the 2024 elections, we never said we were going to get them all onto the public sector payroll. That is untenable. That would mean just crashing the system.
Interrogating.
Do it for me.
Interrogating.
Akosua, do it for me.
When I was doing my submission, all of a sudden it felt that I felt like I was on Upfront or Eyewitness News. I am saying
that do it. I've given you the power of attorney. Execute it.
No, if I do it, then they'll say I'm the bully.
All right, we'll continue. Don't allow her to bully you. We'll continue.
I can't do anything.
She has weakened you.
You see, and if you take what the president said in Parliament in context, the president never said government employed 1 million people. You see,
he didn't say that.
No, he never said that.
Of course, are you listening?
Yes, he said the government, we have created employment for 1 million people. That is not the same as government has employed 1 million people. Those are two different scenarios. If you go to the US, if you look at the employment data they churn out every now and then on how far government is doing to create jobs, they are always talking about the private sector expanding and absorbing people. They add it to the employment figures. And that's what the government uses to say that it has created jobs for this and that. But in Ghana here, when we talk about job creation, we are only limiting it to what the government has been able to absorb. And if we put that burden on us, no political party in government can succeed. And we shouldn't even try that, especially even in an era where we are all under we know we are under IMF program, where there is a limit to which you can employ. I mean, my only worry about this security recruitment is that as a party, we should have acted in another form. For instance,
okay. So I just wanted to take the direct quotes from the President and the State of the Nation address. The President is being quoted here. Okay. It's a publication that has been put on Ghana Web. Okay. And it's credited to, well, it's sourced to Ghana Web. And he said, quote, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, over 1 million Ghanaians have found employment between Q1 and Q3 of 2025. About 950,000 have exited multidimensional poverty over the same period. We are moving decisively from planning to action on our flagship 24-hour
Exactly.
So this is what the President has said.
1 million Ghanaians have found employment. That is not the same as saying the government has employed 1 million people. And so when NPP, when they are doing their propaganda, they try to twist some of these things. They are two different things. And even the that's why I brought in the US example. The US example is always looking at which sector has taken which number of what number of jobs, has created what number of jobs, and they put them together and they say that this is what the government of, say, Trump has been able to add on.
Just another additional information. So Fact Check Ghana, they did a check on what the President said, and their headline is Fact Check. President Mahama's claim that 950,000 people escaped multi-dimensional poverty in Q1 to Q3 of 2025 is false. During the 2026 State of the Nation address, President Mahama claimed that 950,000 people escaped multi-dimensional poverty between Q1 and 3 of 2025. However, we found this claim to be false. Ghana Statistical Service data we reviewed showed that the 950,000 figure covers Q3 of 2024 till Q3 of 2025, not Q1 to Q3 of 2025. So this is a report by Nusrat Issa, a fact checker. And so they said that during, so that's just...
Yeah, so but the bottom line is that no one is saying public sector, the government of the day has employed 1 million people. No one has said that. And so that should be on record. You see, when it comes to, when we are talking about this security sector recruitment, I have my major issue, and we are all not left out. In fact, in our consensus, these days you can't even sit in your consensus for a day.
It's sad, because of this the pressure issue that has brought.
And you see, the further aspect of it is that almost all of them feel the MP can do something about it. They come to you crying, and you ask yourself, what at all can you do about this situation? As for me, the biggest disservice we did to ourselves was not to have set a quota on the applications. From the word go, we knew we were taking 5,000 people. We should not have allowed the numbers to grow ad infinitum. We should have created a system where if we know we are taking 5,000 people, we should not allow more than, say, 100,000 people or 50,000 people to apply. Once you get to 50,000 people, the system must automatically cut it. And you see, the other mistake we did was that the recruitment process started on November 15th. And it was supposed to run till December 15th, 1 month. Now, in between the line, you saw that they released WASI results. It was released on November 19th. That's about 14 days into the recruitment. As for me, in fact, when the WASI result was about to be released, I said to myself that if our actors were looking at this issue, they should have made sure that they liaised with WAEC to ensure that the results were delayed, so that the recruitment can cover only those, the bad luck that we have. I'm telling you.
You mean you are carrying forward your problem?
I am telling you.
No, look, but it's the same problem.
No, because you see, if you look at the figures, if you go into the details, do you know what they're saying? They are saying that out of the 500,000 applications. 380,000 cities are those with SSC users.
What's the results?
380,000 out of the 500,000.
But of course, recruitment into the security services, there's an entry level.
We've not had it for several years now, and so we've had a backlog.
Yeah.
So create a system that will let you clear the backlog, and don't in the process try to add new one, because the moment people collected their result, they went, everybody rushed again to buy the forms. You understand? And so to me, it was.
So it's because Akosia's people were not recruiting, so that's the backlog that's affecting.
You see, we have always had a quiet system going, and the NPP, they are
She
smart.
said she's calling their interior
They are
minister.
smart, and I respect them for
that.
that. NPP is smart, and I respect them for that. But they have always done this in the quiet. It has always not been blown out like this. In fact, the last time they did an open one was in 2021.
Call a spade a spade. You champion jobs for young people.
Did you not champion jobs?
And we created the jobs.
So this is,
I'm saying that. Yes, we did. In fact, you see the pain of this recruitment that your party people are facing. When NAPCO was first rolled out, we asked our party people to go online. They refused to go. It was NDC people that were the first beneficiaries. In fact, we saw. It's like we never learned. But I'm saying this.
These figures, I'm disputing these figures.
You're disputing them. You think they are lower or higher?
You see, when people say 5,000 are people that I have issues with. But in my constitution, for instance,
people are lying.
Let me land.
No, explain. What do you mean by you're disputing the figures? I don't understand. What do you mean?
Yes, so that is why I must be allowed to make my point.
Because she just returned from funeral. That's why she's still in mourning mode. Continue.
I'm mourning.
If you tell me 500,000 youth applied, that I have an issue with. Because in my constitution, almost everybody who came to me had applied for 2, 3, or even 4, all 4 of the positions.
Okay.
You have one person, because people didn't want to take chances. So they will go in, one person buys.
So you are saying that the number of human beings who applied may not be up to 5?
They are not.
In fact, I put that question to Muntaka when I interviewed him on Eyewitness.
Okay.
He said they have done that cross-checking, and in terms of physical human beings,
it's 500,000.
No, less. So about 380,000 or so.
Exactly.
But still, that's a big figure.
That is not, I'm not even in that. But that's just to say that we're not talking about 500,000 people, but 500,000 applications, it's so huge. We could have found a way to say that once we are into the 5,000 people, let's cut it off at some point. 50,000 applications, the system closes.
You're a lawyer. You want to change the goalposts in the middle of
but this is an administrative issue. This is not a legal issue.
No, but I'm saying that. If you advertise that I've opened nominations from 15 November to 15 December, I have traveled to go and solicit for money because I need 220 cedis to buy forms. I got back on November 30th, and you've decided to close it on November 29th. I can sue you.
So it depends on what information you put out at the time you are giving out the information. I'm telling you that I'm opening it from November 15th to December 15th.
Yes.
But I only have, the system can only take up to 500,000, up to 100,000 people. That information should be made out.
Okay.
So
declare the vacancies.
Exactly, from the word go.
It will still not change anything. People will still apply because they wouldn't know how many.
Get to that number, the system automatically closes.
Yeah, but again, the point is that the fact that you need 5,000 and 20,000 have applied, it's possible that all those 20,000 can be disqualified. So you want higher numbers so you can choose the best out of the lot.
So now you have the higher numbers, you have bigger problems.
Yeah, that's why they are pruning them.
So you see, if you take the 20,000, chances are you get even more than 10,000, twice or thrice the number you are looking for from that number. And if you don't get it, it's always, you can always come and even do another extension just to get more people to apply. That is a better way of managing the system than to say that because you have announced that it should run for 1 month, whether this or that, it must run for 1 month. There are lessons that we should pick from this.
Okay.
Because we are not all spared of this backlash. That is why, look, it is difficult to defend this, especially on air. It's very difficult. Because if you do, sometimes you can't even go back to your constituency. We all know that it's...
Because it's real.
It's so terrible. It's terrible. And you see, I am happy.
So but you see, in the beginning of this conversation, you said something, Akosua said I should interrogate you. I wanted you to see how you're going to end. You said you didn't promise that you are going to create governmental jobs.
Yeah.
So what are you doing on the other side of job creation aside the
that
government?
That is brilliant. And I'm happy you're asking. I would have even come to it. You see,
Oh no, you took him forever, so I didn't Akosua say that. So I was waiting to see.
You're doing it better than Akosua would have even done it.
Oh no, I'm a journalist. She's a politician.
I wish you even defend
He's
to
balancing it
Akosua.
after trying to bully me.
Defend to
Now he's,
Akosua.
Ignore Akosua. You answer the question.
The issue is that, Omaro, two issues. One, we have inherited an IMF program. So no matter what you do, you are limited.
You can't employ.
I'm not even talking about that.
Okay.
Two, Umaru, we have done a lot, even as a government, in employing the people, the youth. Look, at one instant, you have 5,000 people taken on YE for prisons. You have 10,000 people taken. Look, if you put all the people who are the youth who have been employed under YE, I think we've done close to, if not 40 to 50,000 people. And currently they are all employed and they are receiving salaries. One other thing we told them, which may have even added to our woes, is that at the time we also made promise that most of them, when this main security sector recruitment comes, will absorb them. So almost all those people have applied for this. Those who are Zoom, we call it the
Zoom police,
the Zoom police, the Zoom prison officers, the Zoom ambulance officers, and all those people. They have all applied for this because somehow we created the impression that when we are come to recruit the security, they will be given priority. So it is not the case that all those who have applied for this are unemployed. No, it is just that this is a better opportunity. In fact, there are teachers who have even applied for this. Those who are teaching and are taking salaries, who have applied. There are nurses who have applied for it. There are people in other areas who have applied for it because people have seen that maybe this is they are just weighing options. And I see that this is a better option. That is not to say that we do not have youth unemployment. And if you look at the other programs, the Jumawura, the NAP, in fact, just 2 weeks ago, I was in the constituency, and I supervised the delivery of items to the first beneficiaries of our national apprenticeship program. And I'm proud to say that in my constituency alone, I had close to 50 people benefited. I handed the items to them. And these are people who are in various areas.
But you said you will do Akuko Nkiti too.
It's also on course. But almost all the programs.
But if all of these were on course, how come people are struggling?
Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing about the psyche of us. If today I am a beneficiary of a Jumawura and I have, say, an SHS certificate or a degree or diploma, and you open space to recruit police, that doesn't stop me from applying to be recruited as a police officer. There's no clause anywhere, no barrier to anybody.
So there's a possibility that those who have applied to be recruited may already have their jobs.
They already be beneficiaries in some of these things.
Some may be teachers.
That is what I said. You understand? And so, the fact that you have created these parallel structures, opportunities, does not mean that those who have already benefited will now be exempted from going to, because people are weighing their options. Okay. People are seeing which area has a better option for them. There you go. You understand? And they will always go into it. And so Umar, in fact, if you liken this to NAPCO, you bought NAPCO, you said you were creating 100,000 jobs for the youth.
Per year?
Yeah, no, it wasn't per year.
It was per year for 3 years.
At the end of 2020, after the elections, for the entire 2020, the entire 4 years of the
No, they did it for 3 years and then the thing collapsed. But I'm saying that it was 100,000 per year for 3 years.
But I'm saying that for the last 4 years of Nanado's administration, nothing happened.
But do you know the significance of 100,000 per year?
How much No, it was a temporary job you created. You put sugar on their tongue. You put honey on their tongue and took it back.
7,000 or 8,000.
I followed NAPCO.
They exited into meaningful employment. Again, this is where you enter the charts and muddy the waters. And then
I followed NAPCO demonstrators long enough. In fact,
they haven't. Look, when I started my submission, Sanda, I wanted us to elevate the conversation to a point where, as a country, we come to the table understanding we have to create opportunities. I am on the side of NPP because we have ideas that will push us forward. They, on the other hand, draw us back. They know how to get into power. There's nothing they've done that is new or novel, that is even helping their own party members to be happy. That's the fact.
Okay.
Are your own party members happy?
With us?
Yes.
You think, but we are in opposition, we're supposed to be happy. We're in opposition, we're supposed to be happy. Why are you crying more than those of us in opposition? Why are you crying more than those of us in opposition?
The thing is that they had 8 years to run an administration. 8 years. Umaru, we have only done 1 year. No one should expect that a 1-year-old baby will walk. You understand?
But a good day is usually seen in the morning, or.
Yeah, but if you
the morning is looking.
You say you don't expect somebody. When we're talking about 1D, 1F, what are the factories? And said factories. You don't expect them to just roll out within months. So he says you don't expect a baby to crawl.
So in fact, you were justifying why it takes time.
You are so honest. It is worrying you. The NDC is not a good fit for you. You've been very honest this morning.
Let me go to Dr. Norman.
The NDC is not a good fit.
Dr. Norman, I always make
Honestly,
this point that
the
National Youth Employment Program was introduced in the Kufuor administration when at the time Francis Puku, Minister for National Security, said youth unemployment was a national security matter. What we have seen, despite the politics, is a national security issue that 500,000 people would apply for a job where there are only 5,000 vacancies. And we saw the same thing in the military. These people who are applying to enter the security sector, I'm not sure it's because they want to really protect somebody or at the end of the day, it's pocket money they are looking for, is it not?
My brother Umaru, it is exactly that. The answer is yes, pocket money. But I applauded Minister of Interior for approaching, resetting the recruitment agenda into the security agencies on the principle of meritocracy. Both political parties, NPP, NDC, MPs, are very upset. And Honorable has just disclosed the basis of their upsettedness, that they thought they were going to upgrade their reputational standing in their constituency by placing people in the security agencies. But if we go by meritocracy, then protocol placement is out.
Okay.
And we need to clean the swamp because it is too filthy when it comes to employment. In 2021, quietly, the NPP recruited 2,872 personnel for the quietly. And
how do you mean quiet?
Well, because there was
okay, before you even explain that quiet, I just want to make a quick clarification. So when I referenced the fact checking that was done on the president, it was done by Ghana Facts, not Fact Check Ghana. So Ghana Fact is the one that did that fact checking. But proceed, yes. So the quietly part, how did they do it?
Because there was no advertisement, there was no alleged Ponzi advertisement to recruit the people.
Okay. So they recruited under the table.
Of course.
Hey, MPP, secret.
And I think Akosua has already said it. That, and Honorable said they were very smart. They were doing it on a quiet side, and we all know that.
And secondly, it's true? It's true that they were doing that?
Of course. There was, even I came to your station at Dabraka and made this assessment because I was doing training in WA.
So how do they get the people to recruit them? If it's secret, how do they put it on their WhatsApp platform?
Well, the MPs were doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
I can tell you more than 3-4 years where that recruitment was published in the newspapers, with the exception of COVID year, and I think the year after that. It's true. People see the forms duly advertised and they go and they move on.
Of course,
so
when you're speaking, I'm very quiet, so can I land?
Oh, Uncle, I'm so sorry, you can land.
You're welcome.
But I just had to.
You're welcome, my sister.
She called you uncle, you're calling her sister.
I appreciate that. I'm older than her, so it's okay. I'm 72 years old. So.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What's wrong with it?
You don't look
it.
It's
blessings from God.
No, but you don't look it. Yeah, it's nice, it's nice. Good.
Thank you.
Nice. It's a blessing.
You are 3 years younger than Rebecca Akufo Addo.
Oh, what a shame.
She celebrated 70. No, her video is all over celebrating 75.
I wanted to be her senior.
75
what
years.
What a shame. I'm going to upgrade my age
No,
now.
it's fine. You're doing nice. You're doing nice. Continue.
Anyway, so to call this process a Ponzi scheme is quite sad. And I want Honorable Intim Fojo, someone I respect and I admire for his advocacy, to really push it forward. Because if this recruitment is a Ponzi scheme, knowing full well that there was a space only for 5,000 people, then all the universities in Ghana are doing the same thing.
Okay.
Knowing full well how many students they can enroll, and yet they open it up, no cutoff until the date is finished, and they excessively recruit a lot of people almost at the same cost as the security agency is also doing. And all the vice chancellors, the registrars in those universities should be arrested. The monies they have taken over the years should be brought back to the people they took it from. If you demand from the government to return the money to the applicants, the same thing should apply to all the public universities and institutions that charge processing fees. I think the word Ponzi is very wrong legally, because who is collecting the money and paying who in this process? Nobody, individual person or investors are benefiting from this.
But Akosua's point is that this is government. So if it has happened in other sectors and it was wrong, say with the visa application, with the other filing fees and all of that, if it was not healthy then it should not be healthy here, because these are poor job seekers. You are taking 200 cedis from them. So if you won't give him some, don't collect the small that they have.
I agree, but this is the system we've been following in this country all along. So all of a sudden, you cannot jump. So as part of the reset agenda, we have seen that there's a big mistake here. I joined the U.S. Army in the mid-70s. I didn't pay 1 peso. And I walked into a recruitment center and said I wanted to join the army. And they said, where are you from? I said, I'm from here. I had a map of West Africa. I said, you see this triangle? That's where I'm from.
They didn't charge you more from being from other places.
There was no argument about that.
In
Once
fact,
I showed
if I interviewed Brigadier General Nuno Mensah on Eyewitness, he said when he was also entering, and he's 92 years now, he said, or is it almost 90, I think. He said when he was also, he just went and there was no application fee, those things, in the Ghana Armed Forces.
Because at that time, the number of recruits were not that huge. Anybody that has been on admissions committee before knows how difficult it is. That is why they apply the aptitude test with the AI. So when you are making certain allegations, you have to put it within the context of what you are saying. This is the history of Ghana when it comes to recruitment. The recruitment is another word for enrollment. In any kind of institution in Ghana, they are still collecting money, and government is absorbing most of their costs. So why are they collecting money to also enroll students? Then if we're going to stop this with the security agencies, we should also stop that with the universities.
Okay.
And the effect of that, some economists will tell you, will be very hard on the universities, just as it will be very hard on the security agencies and even from the
So for you, you reject the notion and the idea that this is a Ponzi scheme.
It's not.
Where, for instance, Akosua says it was an IGF mechanism by the Ministry for the Interior to get money.
Why?
That's not how you see it.
That's not it at all.
But
it's to defray the recruitment cost. Because when people sit, a lot of people, sitting allowances, you will not go to a meeting for long without demanding for sitting allowance.
I don't demand ever for a sitting allowance.
You
ever.
don't?
She has served in public office before, don't mind. If we go and check.
I don't demand sitting allowance.
But when they give you, do you reject it?
It depends if I'm aware.
If you are aware.
No, sometimes you go into a meeting, somebody will say, oh, she doesn't need it. Even though you're entitled to it, so she doesn't need it. And I don't fight for it.
You were at NYA.
He says sitting allowance.
I know,
it doesn't put me at one spot.
I know, I'm just saying that you are at National Youth.
Yes.
You go for meetings. They give you
meetings where?
They give
in the office, you don't get sitting allowance when you work in your own office.
No, not in your own office. But you know what sitting allowance, you know how they even...
Please, I don't know why he was jittery about the word Ponzi scheme. What Reverend Fojo said, when you've put money into something, the outcome you haven't gotten, and the money you put in, you lost. It's a Ponzi. It's not that they gave something to them as one second. It's not that they got something which was like a placeholder, which was of the same value as what they put in. They didn't. You filled the form, you walked away. You tried to validate it by saying that the forms and the processing and all that equals that. It doesn't. So it's indeed Ponzi because behind the scenes is a beneficiary of a quantum sum of 110 million Ghana cedis. 110 million Ghana cedis. That's what we are talking about.
And that makes
if
it a
you
Ponzi.
say that it won't change the lives of the people to send back to them.
Do you know the cost of a recruitment?
Let me just, 1 second. So
you're saying a cost of recruitment. You just said that when you applied to the US, they didn't collect $1.
No, but that is the system there.
Recruitment and, yeah, so a reset should be put a human face on the young people they promised jobs to and have disappointed. And there are no alternatives. That's the heart of the matter. There are no alternatives. He sat here ridiculing NAPCO. At least it was a short-term gap to a problem, 100,000 year on year. Short-term gap, but there's no alternative. There's nothing that young people can put their energies in. They have not rolled out anything where meaningfully you can see that there's a gain. It's all settings, it's all PR. A minister of finance who can't even give financial clearance to basic ministries. They have nothing. Rent allowances not paid, tariffs are going high. Women's Bank, it cuts me to the core. I was hoping that when it comes, at least they won't say that you are political, so we won't give you. We're all going to apply.
But I didn't vote for them.
But didn't they come for Ghanaians?
Akosua.
Oh, so now you're saying that the benefits are.
No, I'm just saying that if it was nice and you
you're
like,
acting like a spokesperson.
I'm just saying that if you want, I'm saying that if you wanted the Women's Bank, you should have joined the party that wanted the Women's Bank.
The bank didn't say NDC Bank. It didn't say NDC Women's Bank. When it comes, we're all going to apply. So it has to happen.
Akosua, a Ponzi scheme is a fraudulent investment operation where returns are paid to earlier investors using money contributed by newer investors rather than from actual profit earned.
Yeah.
It was named after a con artist, Charles Ponzi, and it creates an illusion of high profit, low risk, and inevitably collapses when new investors.
Thank you.
Let's draw parallels.
So, see, it doesn't
Let us draw a parallel to that. You drew in years. So where those who get in first get a benefit. Those who have gotten in first, in essence, are the 5,000 who have qualified. They are going to get a benefit of a job.
Then
those who don't, the rest.
Yeah,
so that's
so they are
it.
Yes.
I'll
come to the wrap up. Let me hear from you.
Wrong definition,
Related to that, she just, in her submission earlier, she said that, I don't know which year she was talking about, 2022 or 2023,
Yes.
that they had
200,000.
92 or 93,000 applications.
12,000.
And they recruited 12,000.
Yeah.
So the 12,000, if you take 12,000 from 92,000, you get like 80,000 plus. Is that not it? So the 80,000, did they refund their money?
No.
Akosua, did you refund
You
them?
see? Sorry, you said what?
Ask
She didn't hear
the
you.
people that were refunded. At what cost? Let me know the cost. You are giving information. Let me know the cost of that. Let me know
I'm
the
asking the
cost.
question again.
What makes
Did you hear my question?
You
No, you listen to him. Akosua, listen to
honorable.
No, let him-
Reset. The reset agenda you championed was that everything MPP did was
so it was
bad.
wrong. If it was wrong at the time,
Everything
okay,
we
that's
did
fine.
was
Okay.
wrong. That's what you said.
Very well.
Everything we did was,
Fair enough.
in fact, if you had the opportunity, you roll back everything we did like Trump did to Obama.
So there was
Everything
a Ponzi
Obama
scheme in
did,
place.
according to Trump, is wrong.
And we didn't
And
continue.
for you,
So there
you
was a
said
Ponzi scheme
that
in
we
place,
were
and
wrong.
We are continuing the
What
Ponzi
we
scheme,
have
right?
said
Yeah, and he doesn't-
today,
she
you
doesn't
see,
like
I don't
it.
even like raising my voice when I'm talking because I feel like your audience is a very, conservative, matured audience.
No, you're fine. You're a fine lady. You shouldn't raise your voice.
Yes, but when you are dealing with two bullies at the same time, you
Where are
have
the
to project.
where are the two
You have
bullies?
to project.
Where
are the
are
two
the
bullies?
bullies?
You have to project. I'm
Omaro,
saying that.
You just called your
the
uncle a
reason-
bully.
No, the two.
The two of them. Thank
Uncle is
you.
my uncle.
Thank
That's my favorite uncle. I'm saying
Let me
that.
hear from him. I want him to.
You don't want me to land.
No, you've already responded. You
I'm
said that
saying
there's a
he
reset,
does
so they
not
shouldn't do
have-
things
it's
the way you did.
audacity- No, it's
You
the
said they
audacity
shouldn't
to come and
do
say
things the
you-
ugly way that you did them.
What they've confirmed, Sanda, is that they didn't hate anything we're doing. They just wanted to be the ones doing it.
Very well. Dr. Norman,
Yes.
wrap up for me, please.
So I believe that if you want to know the details, and Honorable Muntaka was very transparent in telling us about the distribution of the 5,000, the various agencies they are going to. I have never seen it happen in this country. That was the first time. The reset agenda is on. I hope this meritocracy arrangement that we've seen in the recruitment of the security agencies will be streamlined into all the institutions in Ghana. Because one of my biggest complaints is that even within the security agencies, women are being neglected when it comes to the ranks. How come since independence there's been only one woman IGP? How come do we have this situation when you have over 12,000 women in the Ghana Police Force? It is horrible. When it comes to health, every director of Ghana National Service has been a man. Why? There are women who are fellows of the Ghana Medical Council, and yet, when you go to the district level, the regional level, they are all men. Let us follow the principle of meritocracy, not only in the recruitment, but it should cut across board. You take the institutions one by one, and you see how macho the leadership is. The testosterone level in this country is too high. Bring it down. Introduce estrogen in administrative and management position so that the corruption that we are experiencing might come down. It doesn't mean that women don't have propensity to steal. Some women are even more criminal than men. But I believe that if we are going to apply meritocracy, some of the corruption, the corruption index of Ghana will actually come down. That's how I want to end.
Thank you. Let me go to Franklin Kojo to wrap up for us on this matter. Franklin, 500,000 people apply for a job whose vacancy is just 5,000. Of course, there's a counter-accusation between the two parties on who has done what right and who has done what wrong. But I wanted to look at it from what Dr. Norman, the invitation I gave to Dr. Norman, about a national problem. The unemployment problem is a national problem. We do know that government cannot employ everybody, and I'm sure you will not even agree for government to be employing people because you are a private sector person. what should we do? What avenues should the government be creating so that we have an absorption of these people when they come out of university and secondary schools without having to go and queue to be in the security service when they don't really want to really do security matters, but they have to do it because of the money?
Well, thank you very much. And by the way, I think that was an interesting conversation I was listening to. You know, it saddens me that almost everybody wants to work in the public sector because, clearly speaking, the jobs there are sort of secured or guaranteed. You know, that's why the Honorable MP suggests, for instance, that there are people who are even working already, who are probably employed, but still want to get into the security services. Which tells me that in a country where you have a lot of people rushing to work in the public sector, it's either, well, of course, I'm not saying communist countries are not good, but even they cannot employ people that much. I recall the story of Milton Friedman, the Nobel laureate economics, 1974, I think, 1976, when he went to China, and then the Chinese were constructing roads. And they had all these people using, shovels to dig holes. And they said, but come on, can't you get tractors to do this because it'll be more efficient? And the Chinese guy said, oh no, when you do that, you'll be reducing employment, and that you need more people to be employed. And he said, well, in that case, why don't you use spoons? Because you use spoons, you get a lot more people working in the public sector.
Yeah.
You know, so the public sector has become these very interesting. I keep saying that one of my proteges said some time ago that the public sector or the state is this great fiction at which everybody wants to spend as it expects. So everybody now wants to get into the public sector because they are secure jobs. It is sad. I think the challenge has been the way our politicians, and again I blame them, have actually carried the conversation about this job employment issues. While I understand that in the interim you have a bulge, you have a million, 2 million people just aimlessly walking about doing nothing. That's scary, by the way. Dr. Norma will tell you, the security time bomb. But so you need to do something. Then occasionally hear crotchety campaigns like the one the NPP did, which was NAPCO and all of those things. There was no connection to productivity. But at least sometimes you hear, at least the argument they made was that, oh, that's to keep people off the streets. Maybe it's understood. But, you can intelligently redesign that thing and make sure that it adds value somehow to the economy. But anyway, let me leave that for now. I think it is important that before politicians come to power, they should have done their own diagnostics to understand that, look, how are we going to create jobs if we don't fix, for instance, the, how do I put it, if you haven't assessed the economic viability of each part of this country. So let me give you a classic example. So the NPP said they were going to do factories all over the place, like confetti, right? One district, one factory. It didn't make sense. You know why? But not every district is well endowed. Many districts are probably valued about 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. That's the potential. But there are more districts that were probably more endowed and valued. And so you rather concentrate there and then build bigger, factories if you want, or industry if you want, and then somehow employ or prevent the rural-urban drift. But that's not what they did. Because of propaganda and the fact that votes have to be spread everywhere, politicians like to do that. Even the NDC comes to power, well, they promise all kinds of things, farmer centers, and all of that. It may all be fine and dandy. And now they also promise 24-hour economy. But it looks to me that, again, these are all hanging. Well, probably except, of course, the 24-hour economy, which now they've redefined to mean that, look, until we create the value chains, until we invest in the value chains, where we ensure that the water lake, right, it's a very rich resource. Why are we not having a lot of people using the water for transportation of goods and people effectively, so that these goods that are transported, obviously would be, some will be stored, there'll be processing companies that are built across the lake, and then that way, you're not only processing, you're not adding value to your raw materials. You're actually in the process employ a lot more people, and all of this will be integrated. So that's why I've become a bit quiet on this 24-hour thing, because of course the propaganda was one job, 3 shifts. Well, until you've done the basics, which is building the blocks, you can't get there, which is Gusitano's issue. And that is an excellent thing he did, by the way, to say that, look, all these noise people were making about 25 economy. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to build the value chain properly so that we can generate those types of jobs that we want. Anyway, so we need to go back to basics, really. I've asked myself this question. How come we decided in this country, I think it was the NDC was in power, that we decided that all colleges of education all of a sudden will become tertiary institutions? I'm not saying they shouldn't be upgraded, but how come they also did what was unthinkable, that they have all polytechnics upgraded to university status? I'm not saying these things are bad, but it should come commensurate with what? The investment into technical education, vocational education, because those were the reasons why they created polytechnics. Polytechnics are not for grammar courses. When somebody goes to do 3 months, how do they call those courses? All these courses flying around, and then they give them a certificate, and then all of a sudden there's the focus, the university shifts its focus from the core mandate of providing middle-level manpower, fixed ones, the ones that are skilled, that can propel this country by creating things, creating value, creating things that we can work with our hands and our heads, and then rather focus into all this type of what I call grammar and if you like, grammar education. You know, the story is told of Nkrumah whose first agriculture minister was somebody who studied classics and Greeks. And I think the first president of Malaysia, when he wrote his book From Third World to First World, actually took a dig at Nkrumah and said he couldn't understand that a country blessed with people like that could actually have somebody who studied classics and Greeks as an agriculture minister. Well, the president is out there today, right? We've all seen that. Right? So it tells you clearly that we are not focused on the things that will bring proper value. Look.
Hello, Franklin. Hello, Franklin. Okay, I think I lost Franklin Kujo there. He's president of Money Africa, joining us via Zoom. This is a big issue on ChannelOne television and on 97.3 CTFM. Okay, Franklin, you're back. I think I lost you momentarily, but proceed.
So I'm just trying to say that the UK did the same thing. They upgraded their polytechnics to tertiary so-called universities, lots of critical level, middle level manpower. And now that's been filled by Eastern Europeans, and they are doing quite a lot of good. So look, we need to go back to basics. We should reverse this, probably do a reversal, or now invest in the technical institute. It's sad that this country, we say those who didn't do well are the ones who end up in technical institute. I'm very surprised and sad. I led a project during the first NPP government time. I worked with Bahrain, by the way. We did a project together. I was shipping American kids into this country, high school kids, almost every quarter, half a year. They came to train Ghanaian technical institute students how to refurbish computers, use computers, and I think I loved it because we're imparting skills. Now all of that thing is gone because all these people, after we did that project, nobody decided to continue. But how then do you build critical skills? How do you do that? You know, so it's sad that if you have people who could build and create things, we wouldn't be here. Where everybody has gone to do courses, and even now they can't even, like Akosua Manu say. I mean, the IT thing, right? It's not much. There's people are filling the form. They sat there, they sit down there, the thing goes off. Then they say, this is so sad. So look, we need to go back to basics, have our priorities right, set things right. Otherwise, we'll keep on going in these circles. I can't understand how everybody wants to work in the public sector. So please.
Would Akosua Nkiti and the other proposals by the government be the solution to dealing with the unemployment issue, so that we don't have to rely on the...
The funny thing is that, look, and I'll vote for Akosua Nkiti any day because the NPP did it as well. You know why? It's not because they also did it, though. At least it alleviates some level of poverty, hardcore poverty. I mean, if you got chicks and you were, rearing them and quietly do, at least if you manage very well, if you do the proper husbandry, how do you call it, poultry management, and at least get some eggs to eat and then probably sell it a few. And then that way you'll be nutritious as well, so that you don't have question. I mean, somehow you can eke out the living, right? So never despise small beginnings, I would say, even if it's to make sure that you get something useful. Right. But the whole point is simple. We really need to focus on building the skill, building things that would build build the industrial base of this country. Free SHS is a great thing. Yes, people now complain that, oh, it's because of free SHS, that's why everybody wants to work in it. Of course, it's a great thing. But you see, the value of free SHS, we still don't know the value. Because until it adds significantly to the economy of this country, I've not seen the value yet. I said that a lot more people have gone to school. That's all. I mean, if all these people were being employed and creating something useful, which will add to the multiplier, add to the value of the GDP or whatever, I've not seen that. I've not seen. We've done the calculation. It's not much. They are not seeing the impact of all these interventions in education since time memorial, having the critical outcomes on GDP. Zero, virtually zero, because it's not skill. It's not skill. I mean, you have how many people are coming out of the university this year, for instance? Look at the numbers that are coming out. So you do any backward integration, realize actually education, no. So go school now. Another degree. Another degree.
Come on, about the security. Now about
I said that can be funny, cryptic at the same time. The question is asking. It may be mocking that, oh, if all 5 parameters will go, who will be the thieves to be? He spoke intelligently, of course. It takes a critical mind to understand what he's trying to say. He's not trying to say that thieves must necessarily come out of the 500,000. He's just saying that if everybody goes into, who will switch off the lights? Basically, that's what he's asking. You know, if everybody leaves, who will switch off the lights? So I think we need to go back to basics and focus this conversation properly. Look, even the cocoa sector, as we keep crying, that sector is dying. Okay. Only old over 50-something year people are into cocoa. Why? The young people, I don't know. We need to. It beggars belief, really. Yeah. But before they come to power, they should do this diagnosis, and maybe I don't know. Maybe NDPC should lead this conversation. But of course, it's always politicized, and so nothing happens. That's sad. Thank
you, Franklin Kujo is president of Imani Africa. I'll take a break. When we return, we'll talk about fuel. Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission (PURC) has announced a reduction in electricity and water tariffs, effective April 1, 2026. Is that a good thing that will come before the bad thing? Or this is a reduction in electricity and water tariffs effective April 1, 2026, following its quarterly review? So that is one information. Now, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies is also projecting a sharp increase in ex-pump prices of petrol, diesel, and liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, in the second pricing window of March. The projection is contained in COMAC's pricing outlook for the second pricing window of March and comes amid renewed volatility in global oil markets. Now, to summarize this, there's a war happening thousands of miles away from you and I, but that war appears to be going to affect us. Dr. Norman, I want you to look at it from both the security angle and then we can delve into the economic side of things. What is happening in the Middle East? We saw Ukraine and Russia. It affected us and everybody else in the world. Now we are going to see another problem where we are all going to be affected because someone decides to wage war on another country. Can you talk to us about what's happening there?
Sure. The war between U.S., Israel, and against Iran started a long time ago. And we saw part of it in 9/11 in World Trade Center. It affected us there, even then, because there were Ghanaians amongst the people that died. What is happening right now is Uncle Trump's approach in trying to demolish the Iranian management team that started in 1979 by arresting 59 Americans and keeping them for 440 days as hostages, all of which wasn't good. The building of nuclear weapons, because of the position of Iran towards the Middle East, trying to exercise control over the Middle East, as we've seen part of it, is also part of the motivation behind the war. And the collaboration with Hezbollah in Lebanon is also troubling for not just Israel, but other countries in the Middle East. So when you put all of that together, it becomes a huge concern for the future. And Uncle Trump decided that this is the time to do it because they appear to be a bit weak. That was a miscalculation because Iran is not a boastful country to go and say we have 10,000 drones, we have this and that. They know, like Americans that often show their power. And the effect on us is unavoidable because the Strait of Hormuz is where 20% of the world oil passes. And once you control that, and Iran has been planning how to control this for a very long time. And Donald Trump made a mistake of thinking that it is when the war starts, that's when they're going to deploy mines in the water. Well, any strategic entity, nation in the Middle East will not wait for you to attack before they plant the mines in the water. Some of them have already been deployed long time ago, waiting for activation. That is why it is so dangerous for the ships to go through, and so far, so many ships have suffered. This war is not going to end today. First of all, I think there was a miscalculation about the neurosis of the Iranian people. They are anti-American, and they will be very much anti-American until there's a regime change. That is not going to happen because they have already built the architecture for continuity. That is why Mustafa Khamenei has been taken in as the leader. When he's not there, there's somebody else waiting. Already, they have the designated leader already mapped out. So I think we should prepare ourselves as a nation when it comes to oil consumption. First, we should find different sources. And Dangote is there. Equatorial Guinea is there. We can buy our oil, the crude from there. And Toll is now in a position to do a bit of the refining for us, even though it won't be very clean. But we should begin to work on that already. Then, I believe that there are other sources. They could be very expensive. The shipping route can be redirected away from the Strait of Hormuz, loaded from Kuwait shore, and then bring it all the way through Cape of Good Hope into our country. It's going to be very expensive. But this war will continue at least for 6 months, if not longer. Until
6 months?
Oh, yes.
This morning, Trump is saying that they have obliterated every military asset that Iran has on the island where they produce their majority oil from. And he says the war is over.
He doesn't know the geographical location of everything in Iran. And the Iranians are not going to tell you, Mr. Trump, here are some of our weapons. And the weapons, the drones they are using cost about $20,000 to make. And some of them are even less. So they have a lot of these stashed away. So you cannot simply say that you have demolished everything. You can't. And for me, from knowing how the mentality of the people in that country is, they see America as the biggest enemy ever faced by Iran. And they will do everything possible to keep this war going. And the way that they are hitting their neighbors, Arab nations around them, my fear is that there are sleeper cells all over the world. And we saw one against the Jewish...
What are sleeper cells?
Oh, sorry.
Or who are sleeper cells?
Okay. For example...
don't use me. Don't use me. Use my cameraman. He's called Joel. Use Joel. Mm-hmm. For example, Joel.
For example, if Nigeria wants to take control of West Africa, because it has the money and the means to do that, Nigeria can send Nigerians that are trained for specific targets. For example, how to blow up bridges, how to demolish tall buildings, and all of those skills can be taught them. And even send suicide bombers. You go to Ghana, you go to Togo, you go to Benin, We will support you. When we need you to die for us, be ready to do it.
But otherwise, stay and be a normal,
stay and
regular
be
guy.
Whatever you want to be. Go to college, get a degree, whatever. Every month we'll give you $4,000. Who wouldn't do it? There are even Ghanaians that you can recruit to do that. So the sleeper cells are all over. And I believe that once they activate them, as we saw in Bloomfield, in Detroit area, attacking the Israeli synagogue. That individual is from where? Did you know where that individual is?
No.
He's a West African. I don't want to mention the name of the country.
Interesting.
He served in the U.S. Army.
But he's been a sleeper cell.
But he has been a sleeper cell. And why did he serve in the U.S. Army? To get more skills. So that when he's activated, he will be able to do what he was supposed to do. So that is the fear. And Ghana should be very concerned about that. And the price of oil is going to go up, not because of anything this government has done, or if it was the time of NPP, not because of anything NPP might have done. It will go up because that is the world market. There is profiteering going on even on Wall Street when it comes to oil futures.
But also on war.
And also on war.
So could it be that they are profiteering more on war? That's why they've decided to go to war rather than bargain for the oil to be reduced?
As a disaster management specialist, there's so much money to be made during disasters. So much. Okay. But a lot of people only look at the damage that is being caused and not look at the business side. George Soros said, mistakes. If you learn to mine mistakes, you can make a lot of money. And that is what the rich people in the world do when there's war. I used to work for a big US company, multinational, in charge of 77 countries in Africa, Middle East. I actually went to the places where there were civil wars in Africa to exploit the situation. And it was very easy to do that for the company.
Very lucrative.
Very lucrative. So I think Ghana should be ready to absorb some of the cost increases at the filling stations. This is not something we have brought upon ourselves. It's inevitable because of the war against Iran.
Okay. Franklin Kujo, your favorite uncle, Donald Trump, has started that war, and even though it's far away, it may well affect us. How can we shield ourselves? Can we even?
Well, I call it a crazy war. I mean, I don't like wars, by the way, so I don't know.
But you like Trump, so then you like wars.
Well, of course, Trump only because he came to drain the swamp, as Dr. Norman would use the word. Look, yes, and I think every country, well, you can't be an island, can you? I think these are really difficult times. And I pray that this war ends quickly. I'm sure Trump will end it, very sure. Dr. Norman, I don't think it will go past 6 months. I'm sure it will end very, very shortly. I mean, he's just going to declare victory and leave. That's what I think he should just do. Just go declare victory and leave. Already he's declaring victory, whatever. He's just declare victory and leave. So, otherwise, look, everything else you'll be hearing Duncan will tell you is what we should be doing. I mean, otherwise, everybody will be affected. Already, there are talks about the taxes and all of that. Charlie,
you're frustrated. Okay, let me speak. Duncan Amor has just joined us. He's with COPEC. Duncan, where have you been? You were supposed to be in studio since morning. You are not joining us. We'll just give you 2 minutes to talk on the fuel matters, and then we'll proceed.
Sander, thank you. Good morning. Like you said, I should have joined. Well, I agree with Franklin to a large extent, except to say that it could end quickly. That part is a bit unpredictable at this point, especially when the United States have been clear that they have achieved their aims and objectives. Iran says that the enemy has got to pay. And in this reference, it is talking of the United States and Israel. How would they make them pay? Blocking the Straits of Hormuz as long as they could. To force oil prices, if you heard them say to $200 dollars. We are around 100 now. Already Ghana is reeling under the kind of heat that you would expect. What is going to happen on Monday, if the numbers we have also picked locally is anything to go by, this single event is going to wipe out all the gains that we chalked the past 15 months. If you recall, from January 2025 up until now, a lot of successes, you know, week on week, month on month, fuel price reductions are announced. One event simply is going to erode all of that. And I think that is where some of the issues that we've discussed on your network over and over and over again ought to be taken seriously by our leaders. You cannot simply be a price taker. You cannot continue to be a watcher of geopolitical events without any plans of your own. Planning for your people means that you activate BOST. Planning for your people means that you activate the refinery to contribute significantly to your net national daily consumption. You also plan for your gas processor, the Ghana gas processor, to ensure that you also have a backup. At least the train 2 by now should have been completed. But we don't do these things. So we would rather have a market situation where it's under BDCs who are purely capitalist business people who have served this country fair and well, would have to have their money, go to the open market, import the product, and then bring the product to all of us to buy. So anytime there's a price shock, surge of any kind, it would have to filter through directly. I have said this time without number that if we had expanded BOST up to this point, if we had had a strategic reserve margin up to this point, we will not be here glorifying 5-6 weeks of, petroleum import, which is held purely by the BDCs, which the state has no control over, and which, if prices go up, would have to go up the following week because clearly the BDCs cannot afford not to get enough capital to bring in subsequent cargo. If they sell for cheap, the banks will be in trouble, having to borrow them so much. So the actual prices will reflect. What we haven't done as a people is to plan. Okay. And I think that some of these wars or some of these global events should serve a wake-up call to our leaders, not to sit and wait on international markets to deliver to the Ghanaian trotro driver what they expect of a local market dynamics. We don't have any planning, and Sanda, we are simply going to be exposed on Monday.
We pray that we don't get exposed. Thank you so much, Duncan Amwa. He's Executive Secretary of Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Honorable Member of Parliament, your party is in power. You attacked Akufo's government when they blamed everything on Russia, Ukraine. Now you have your own Russia, Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Omar. I see Akosua.
She's happy.
Beaming with smiles.
She's happy by your pain.
Well, Omar, you see, when we're in the heat of the crisis in this country, crisis which was attributed to the Russia-Ukraine war, and the song was always sung that it was as a result of the war. That was why we're in that crisis. We kept saying that even the countries that were involved in the crisis at the time, they had their inflation figures within single-digit ranges. How come we, those who are seen to be 7,000 miles away, how do I even say, miles away, then we are in 50s, inflation of 50s and then 40s. Everything that happened was attributed to the Russia-Ukraine. And we see Ghanaians still ask them that today, as we speak, the Russia-Ukraine war is still in place. But we now have inflation being at single digit consistently for over 14 months. We have the cost of living coming down, prices of things are down. And Umar, this war started on the 28th of this last month.
Last week, Saturday.
That's last 2 weeks.
Yeah, last week, Saturday.
So it's been on for over 2 weeks. And you see, the good thing about this is that if you look at the structure of, and I think if you had given Duncan more time, I'm sure he would have explained this, that fortunately for us as a country, we don't seem to be importing greater chunk of our fuel, of our oil from that side. We only have 20% coming from that side. In fact, we import more of our oil from the European countries. Talk about Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, and Russia. And you can see that even this war is giving Russia more opportunity because the sanctions on Russia, US has kind of lifted it up to 11th of April. You understand? And so for us, only 20% of our oil comes from that route that has been blocked. And the good thing about it is that we are also talking about a time where at least Tor has begun refining fuel in this country. And so today, Tor is able to do 26,000 barrels. Now we have Centuo also coming on board. We have other players coming on board. And so if you look at even the local refinery, if we are able to actually scale up our local refineries, that 20% which would be affected as a result of the blockage would be catered for locally. You understand? And so we still have the 80% still available. And Umaru, I was just looking at something, and I must read it to you. A 2025, that was on Google, a 2025 World Bank policy note suggested that the war did not cause the 2022 macroeconomic crisis, but rather exposed pre-existing structural vulnerabilities and poor fiscal management. If you look at the policy note that was issued by the World Bank.
So you said they had underlying problems?
Issues, they had completely collapsed and mismanaged the economy. And so the war only came to bring out the wounds that was obviously going to hit us.
Kosi, you are the last to speak tonight today. You have 3 minutes to end.
3 minutes. The war has entered its third week. As you mentioned, Iran's a major oil hub is under threat. And sanctions are being eased here and there. I mean, to think that you'd hear that sanctions on Russia is being lifted indicates something much bigger than we anticipated. What matters to me is that whatever we envisage, this government should be able to cushion us. During the last week, there's a bit of the economics doesn't quite add up. Because when you see, I take the last 4 letters quarterly from PURC, where it tells you what goes into the pricing of, let's say, tariffs. It tells you that when your fuel price is low, when your exchange rate is low, when your cost of, where your generation mix is also not bad, then ultimately your tariffs should be what? Should be low as well. The only difference was that despite all these low indicators, the tariffs were high. Tariffs have jumped up with electricity over 26%, with water 15%.
But now PRC is announcing a reduction.
4%. The question is, you said something at the beginning of this third phase, that is it a harbinger of things to come, be it good or bad? Now, that reduction clearly is insignificant, given the quantum leap in the tariffs. You see, don't forget this government introduced a D-levy.
And I've already some taxes.
Right? Even that build-up of 1 cedi was more than 1 cedi. So in effect, we shouldn't even be having this. It doesn't make sense. And I keep saying the economists should come and explain to us, because I'm quite surprised that the indicators that when low should equate to low tariffs is the opposite that is happening. This 4% reduction is only to take a certain box. It's a political agenda to take a certain box that there was a certain reduction, even though things were, just to take a certain box. Because ultimately, like you said, if we see oil prices going at $117, thankfully, this is recorded. He's here saying that from the Straits of Hormuz is only 20% that of our fuel that I don't think it's in Ghana. Probably a sub-region.
Is a 20% global.
He didn't say how much Ghana takes from it. So what he's essentially told us today is that we are insulated from it. Whatever is happening there won't necessarily happen to us because Tor is also
saying that we can take advantage of Tor
up and working and Tor. So what he's told us, because he's the one saying he goes sitting meetings
he didn't say that we are insulated. Why are you?
When I say insulated, he's saying that the shock,
he said
the impact of the blow coming on us, they as NDC and their government are going to stand strong like Tor. That is what he has told us.
But let's end it.
That is what I took from it. Let me end.
Yes.
When we are, you see, and when with the war, it saddens me how the Gulf states are literally panicking because if care is not taken, something that people thought would last just a couple of days, some said 72 hours, some said under a week, it's entered its third week.
Some said very soon.
Diplomacy is key. That is why reckless statements and divulging information that shouldn't be divulged, especially by the foreign minister on certain platforms, ropes in Ghana and puts us in the crosshairs of terrorists.
Of course, Thank you.
It is important that we do not forget the importance of these things.
Okay.
Ghana does not have the arsenal or the artillery that Iran has, or even America has. Let alone for somebody to willfully position us and put us in danger. Let's be, Uncle, you haven't been following what has been happening.
Time is up. Let's end it there. Thank you so much. That's Akosua Manu. She's an aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the NPP Flagbearer. Earlier, Franklin Kujo joined us via Zoom. He's president of Imani Africa. Duncan Amwa with COPEC also joined us via Zoom. In the studio, Dr. Ishmael Norman is a security analyst. Abdul Fattah Al-Hassan is NDC MP for Yendi. And Daniel Yaudomelovo joined us earlier via Zoom. I am Omar